Welcome back, everyone. Quick Hands, episode 62. We are back with the boys. George, Arthur, great to see you boys again.
We're back.
How
good
is it?
What a start.
How are you, boys?
It's been great. Thank you.
We're in.
Looking forward to it.
We're in. George,
Yeah, mate, I can't believe what I saw on the weekend.
you've changed colours from
Paradise.
last week.
I've changed colours.
Yeah, you look. You've changed colour. You just look like
I'm
so
I
full of
look
life.
healthy. I've got a personality.
Yeah.
I've got something to say now. All people are ringing me up, and I can talk back to them. You know, people who haven't rang me for 6 months all of a sudden ring me now. It's the best. I love winter. I love rugby league season.
How about you, Artie? You enjoy the Vegas round?
It was great. It was fantastic just to have the footy back, playing for points now, not for nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really good.
I think they actually called it officially the zero round.
Yeah.
And round one is this weekend.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's kick things off, boys. We'll start with Controversy Corner.
Absolutely.
We've got a few topics to cover, so we'll go over the results. So first of all, Manly defeated Souths 36 points to 24. What are your thoughts on the game, boys?
March premiers.
Pretty good game. Fantastic.
Good game.
That one there, just want to bring out some stats just quickly,
Please.
if you don't mind. Latrell versus Turbo.
Yeah.
Yeah? 180 metres for Tommy Turbo. I think he was back at his best. How good was he?
No, he
Latrell, 106.
106.
Yeah. Post-contact, Turbo, 49. Latrell, 38. Turbo had him covered, mate. Try assist, though. Latrell 2, Turbo 1.
Mm-hmm.
And tackle bust, Latrell 8, Turbo 3. So just when you think Latrell's quiet, he actually has good games.
And a try for Latrell as well.
Exactly. So it wasn't all doom and gloom for Latrell, but both premier fullbacks, we got to see them go head to head, and they didn't.
They both play completely different. Turbo,
But just as important for
Oh,
either
yeah,
side.
absolutely,
You know what I mean? They play
absolutely.
big roles in each side.
Turbo hangs just behind the ruck and follows the ball and just waits for opportunity to come through, and he chimes in the back line as well. Latrell strictly stays out on the right, and gets the ball fed to him when he comes down. You said about meters, okay? Latrell. Tommy will do dirty carries. Latrell won't. So he lets his wingers and the centres do a dirty carry, and dirty carry is coming out of your quarter. So that's where probably a lot of meters get munched up. But Tommy touched the ball a lot, and I got to admit, and I hope we see the best of him. He looked.
Well,
exciting.
I saw him
He
put
looked electric.
I saw him
healthy.
put in some good tackles too. Like he had some heavy treatment too, and he came out unscathed, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Every time he got into a big hit, I thought, oh, here we go. But no, perfect. Got back up and ready to go. And you know what? There's an extra one. There's Ben Trebojevic now who was just as good. I thought he was very solid. I underestimated Manly. At the start of the year, I didn't have them to be a top 8, but now I think, man, this team is actually quite...
Wait a minute.
Nah, they got it on paper.
March
on paper.
Premier. March Premier.
No. I know it's an early thing, but on paper they look good. If Ben Trebojevic continues the way he's going, the back line is solid. That Cooler guy, whatever his name is, in the centres, he's electric. In open space, he's untouchable. He's a fantastic player. I think they've strengthened their back line. They've got rid of Morgan Harper and the other guy, Brad Parker, and they brought in Cooler and the other guy who are absolute dynamite. So
Thanks for that.
no, I'm not bagging. I just think Cooler's going to be a really big upgrade in the other guy.
I agree with you. That's the problem.
Ari, I encourage you to watch The Manly Way. Nicola got me onto it.
Yeah.
I didn't expect...
How good is it?
Yeah. I didn't expect much, but when you see the inner workings of Manly, you understand what they showed on the weekend. You can match it up, how they trained and how they played. The only question I have, or the only factor I know, is that everybody trained exactly the same. Yeah. Because we only saw one team, so Penrith trained the same. Yeah. We know that Melbourne's the fittest team in the comp at the start of the year. It always have. How many years haven't they lost the first round game? Yeah. But what happens is, and Nick said after the Easter break, well, our break, they're playing. That's when teams settle in. That's about 4 rounds.
I think it takes us 4 or 5 weeks of the competition before things settle down and we start to get a bit of a gauge on what everyone looks like.
Have you got any stats on Brooks?
Not really, but
I'll tell you.
He was
about,
solid.
he was very good,
Yeah.
and that's why they've
Wait.
improved everywhere. Their halves are a lot better than last year.
Wait a minute.
wasn't-
Because the media had him as a messiah.
Oh no,
Okay, he,
Yeah, but that's the media, George.
he done.
That's not
he
his
done,
fault.
He done 4 good things. He done 4 mistakes.
Yeah,
I
but a
mean,
couple of mistakes,
no
yeah.
difference to what he did at the Tigers at the moment. What? Because there's players better around him.
yeah.
So I haven't seen anything yet.
Well,
The first
I
game-
mean, I noticed 2 of those mistakes. Okay, one was he threw the ball over the sideline. Another one was he ran across. I think it was Cherry Evans who had to submit to a tackle to avoid an obstruction. Right. But to me, both of those errors, even the pass that he threw, was actually good.
I thought so.
The winger was a bit, but it's a timing thing.
Yeah.
So he's in a new environment. That's stuff that will come together. Like it wasn't.
Let's see.
You know what I mean?
And that's what I saw too.
It was simply
it's
a
just-
timing, getting used to
Yeah.
where everyone is, and that takes time. That you can work that to death on the training park, but on game day, those things take time. You know,
Still
so I think playing at 6 with Cherry Evans controlling everything takes so much pressure off. Like, I was
Exactly.
going to say the kid. He's not a kid, right? It takes so much pressure off. I think we'll see. I think it's his first game. I think he'll do well. I hope he does well.
From what I saw, he's going to do extremely well.
Yeah.
That is a dynamic spine. Tommy Turbo,
Yeah.
Brooksy, DCE, and Croker. He's a very underestimated hooker, Croker. I reckon he's an absolute gun.
that is true.
That is a
right.
very solid
2-1.
spine. And Olakawatu, who you said you had a bit of doubt for, he was
He played
phenomenal.
well. He
He's
played
very good.
Look,
made a lot of runs.
The
a lot of
jury's out.
meters.
The jury's out. Let me watch him for a month. I actually don't.
You don't think they're a top 8?
At the moment, no.
No?
I think they'll miss out. Just miss out.
Okay.
But let's see. Yeah. Because they played a South Sydney team which turned it up middle way through the second half. You know, they turned their toes up and they're thinking about Redfern pub, whatever. I don't know what they'll think.
I don't know. South halfway through the second half were clearly on top, scored back-to-back tries. I think it was about a 10-point lead, and Manly crawled their way back.
They missed Campbell Graham.
Yes.
They
But
missed him a
There's
lot.
2 points on Lachlan Croker I want to make, just very quickly. One was you said Latrell Mitchell had 8 tackle busts. Well, one of those, as the ball carrier, he elbowed Croker straight in the face. He had to get his head wrapped on the field, and blood was pouring out. So, and by the way, I love the way those games are officiated too.
Yeah.
But as we've seen in recent times, intentional or unintentional, accidental, whatever, or any contact with the head goes on report. That was a forearm shot straight to the face that cut him wide open. I've heard nothing about it. Nothing. The second point is after Lachlan Croker scored the try to get Manly back in the game, and this is very important to point out, they played Rock and Roll All Night over the speakers at the stadium because I heard it through the television. So
Okay.
just wanted to make
That's
that
very
point.
important. Very important.
But it was a great game to watch. It was a really good game.
I actually read a journalist column for New York Times or somewhere or other. He was talking about rugby league, and he commented about Croker. He goes, "It's unbelievable how in the NFL a guy gets injured, they go into a tent and they're hidden, and this guy in rugby league, blood pouring out of his head, they just tape it around and he just continue."
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It
so
was
that-
like an eye opener. I thought I've never seen something like that. It was just a freakish thing to see.
And I don't think it was intentional. But if you go back and watch the game, the commentators refer to how Latrell steamrolled Croker, or it was an elbow straight to the face, and that's what cut him open.
accidental.
Yeah.
Of course it was,
Okay.
but it's contact with the head, right?
Absolutely, it is. And,
How
and-
many accidental? We saw a player get sent off in the trials
Absolutely.
for or was it was it in England?
Oh, the Ceebs tackle.
Yeah,
Oh, that was
give me a break. You know what I mean?
dangerous tackle.
How tough is it to continue after that too?
Dangerous
But I'm
tackle.
glad the Americans got to see that because that really is the underlining fabric of our game is the toughness,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, we all remember Michael DeVere getting his face stapled on the sideline.
Yeah. Was that Origin?
That was Origin, yeah.
was Origin.
I don't know what year it was, somewhere in the 90s, but I'm
you know-
glad. I'm actually glad that we got to see that because they really got to see.
But Nick, we showed them a false game. We don't watch that every week. We
No,
watch that
be-
3 times a year, ain't we?
No, because starting this Thursday night, we'll be having
15 penalties a
25 set restarts and 15 penalties.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
yeah.
not.
look,
Hopefully.
we spoke about
Oh,
it last
yes, they
week.
will.
We said that we hoped the referees kept their whistle in the pocket, and we hoped that it was officiated the way an Origin game is officiated. We knew that was going to happen, right?
What's going to happen?
Did anyone catch the first edition of NRL 360 on Thursday night?
No, I taped it, but I haven't watched it.
They did it from Vegas, so they're sitting on the
Yeah,
panel. Paul Kent's back. They're sitting on the panel, and they had these two large video TV screens on either side of the panel, and they're on replay. They're repeatedly showing old fights.
Yeah.
From Origins and stuff. So don't tell me you're not using that to market the game, and then we come back home and it's completely opposite.
I don't understand NRL. I don't understand.
By the way, I like that. I wish we could stay like that all year.
Of course. No, and that's what we've been saying for 3 years now. But I don't understand the NRL, okay?
Yeah.
We don't want contact. We don't want high contact. But when we show footage to the world or on Channel 9 or Foxtel, we show massive hits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We want to take the game to new areas. So we put the whistle in our pocket. That's not a true indication of our game.
If you go back and have a look at it, the Thursday night edition of 360, this wasn't hits. This was Adam Blair and
the famous fight.
Brett Stewart.
Yeah, the famous fight.
Brett Stewart? No, the other brother. What's his name?
I think it was the back rower, Glenn.
Glenn Stewart. That famous brawl on the sideline. It was Paul Gallen punching Nate Miles, which was the punch that actually got punches banned.
Yeah.
Right? Why are they using that to promote the game?
Again,
it's hypocrisy.
They're perplexing. And you know what? This is what gets me. So to be a first grade rugby league player, you are wired up a certain way. Okay?
Yeah.
I can't be a first grade rugby league player. We all, in this room, we can't be, and we look at them, we watch them, and we marvel. Okay?
We watch them in awe.
We watch them in awe. Okay, but mentally, not physically, because physically we can be like them if we really want to, but mentally we can't be like them. So there's a certain percentage of the population that can be a first grade rugby league. Okay, they've got a certain set or a certain mindset. Okay, and what we're trying to do is from wearing shorts and t-shirts, we're trying to put them in a suit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Or we're telling him to go to a fight in a suit and jacket and pants, and don't worry about the nutchuckers, whatever. You know what I mean. We're trying to make them not human beings because they're human beings, but you know what I mean.
How many times over the decades have we seen someone do something stupid off the field, and naturally, the club will call the mandatory press conference at 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning. And the player standing there with a statement, I'd like to apologise. I've let my club down. I've let my fans down. They can barely read it.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing over and over again.
So what are you suggesting?
Throw it out the window. Let's just get back to the good old days. Get rid of the press conference. Get rid of all that stuff.
So what I'm suggesting is that they're trying to make people what they're not. Or they're trying to bring their standards into the game called rugby league. They're telling us it's tough, it's hard. There's people get smashed. There's blood everywhere. They told the Americans, you know what I mean. But realistically, they're trying to reduce contact.
They're trying to bring
nothing over the sternum in one comp in the world.
They're trying to bring a level of professionalism into the game that
it's not a professional game.
That
it's the most brutal game in the world.
It's I mean, if you look at European soccer, the teams travel together in suits and they're very well spoken, and it's not a brutal game, obviously, but rugby league, these guys have got a lot of spare time, and they don't have scholarships. They don't have to study. They don't have to educate themselves. They can go and. There's a clip somewhere on YouTube of Corey Norman before he joined the Dragons and he was playing at Parramatta. I'm sure it's still up there. And someone followed him around. They edited it into like a half hour or 1 hour upload, but they showed him at home. They showed him during the week. He's at the pub just gambling, right?
That's right.
And like there's just no...
He might be stereotypical, but this is the reality.
Playing Xbox.
Yeah, this is the reality. Right? This is the reality.
Yeah.
Until they get married and have children and their lives change a little bit. But before the age of 25, there are certain mindsets.
But I don't want to generalise because then there's players in the game who... some
double degrees. Yeah.
Some who come to mind. Chris Lawrence, John Morris, these guys have degrees.
Beaver Menzies.
A lot of it depends on the person themselves, but I think the game and the clubs could be doing a lot more to support that. But I think we're probably going off here. But
yeah,
look, I'm all for what we saw, and what angers me is I know that we're not going to see it again until State of Origin.
This is the point. This is the point. We showed the Americans something which wasn't factual. We don't watch that every week.
Yeah.
We don't. I'd love to watch that every week. And you know what? It actually works. Everybody behaved themselves. Like they kept the tackles as low as possible.
That's why we started watching it,
You know,
George.
absolutely. The brutality. They think they've got some unknown thing in their brains of the NRL that people don't want to watch brutality or the players who are in there don't understand what they're getting themselves into. But I think they're wrong.
They're just scared of litigation, mate. They're just scared of getting sued. It's the way the current environment is. The lawyers
And you're right.
are just ready to find anything, any excuse to make their millions.
Adi, you're right.
And unfortunately, they're ruining it, mate.
Well,
that's what it is.
You're right, because at the moment, like
They're
I
just
said,
trying to protect
in America
themselves.
and in England, there's massive lawsuits. It's rugby. It's not
NFL's
rugby
a big thing with that for the past couple of seasons now.
But look, they're doing probably too much. But look, let's move on. But like I said, it was perplexing what they're telling us and what they show us, and then when we come back to Sydney, what they're going to give us on Thursday.
Yeah.
It's it's not for
In
me.
the in the second game, the Roosters defeated the Broncos 20-10. Would you agree this is a bit of an upset?
No.
No,
No?
No.
A lot of people had the Broncos.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
I tipped the Roosters. I thought the Roosters were going to go. I thought with the hangover maybe from the grand final, it might take them a couple of rounds to readjust. And I just think Flegler and Farnworth will be huge losses to that team.
Yeah.
They're not people you can replace easily. Teddy versus Reece Walsh. Teddy absolutely ran so many more metres than he did.
Absolutely.
He was so good. Teddy was unbelievable. Probably one of the best games I've seen him
He
play
looked
for a while.
fresh.
He did, didn't he? Post contact meter 61 to Teddy, 14 to Reece. So that's a difference, you know. And tackle bust, Teddy 9, Reece 1. Like Teddy just had it all over him. It's like he was on a mission to show,
Yeah.
you know, this new guy coming through, I'm still king. And
Well, don't
and
forget,
he did
people are talking about him retaining or not retaining the Origin captaincy, so he has a point to prove.
Exactly, yeah. And please don't let Manu leave to Union. Like, I reckon we're going to have another. I'm pretty sure Tavasa Sheck, when he won his Daily M the next year, he went to Union. I hope we don't have the same thing where our Daily M winner goes to Union the next year.
Big chance.
Because there's a big chance, because Manu looked absolutely amazing. He was so good. Even Suoli'i was good. It's a great side.
That
They were
whole-
good. They were good
They
across
were
the park.
fantastic.
And they had a lot of talent off the field as well.
Exactly, yeah.
You know what? I don't know what happened last year. I have no idea. But on paper and what I saw, for the first time, what is on paper transferred on the field. They're so impressive, and they're just starting. I mean, Smith looked like a hooker.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the forwards, my godfather. You know, when you bring May off the bench,
Yeah.
my godfather.
Yeah.
The role they're having, the halves.
Sam Walker is underrated.
You know what? I'm
He's
gonna
great.
take it back. You know, like I said, I don't believe Walker. I think he's a Reggie's player. Well, I'm taking it back, Artie. He's going to be one of the top.
tough.
He's going to be one of the top hookers top halves in the game. Then the ball goes a little bit wide, and you just mentioned it. My God, Manu, Suoliki on the other side, and then Teddy chimes in. And then who's injured? The winger, the guy from Newcastle,
Dominic Young.
Dominic Young's injured. Oh my God, this team is. I can't look at its best. There's no rival. There's no rival.
Look, we'd be remiss to speak about this game without speaking about the alleged racial slur that occurred and the storm that. So Spencer Leniu has actually been charged by the match review committee.
Doing what?
Apparently, he called Ezra Mam a monkey.
Is there any audio there for?
I don't know, but
What's he looking at facing, mate? Do you know?
apparently a long stint. But
A long stint.
a long stint. But
You're going to make an example.
I want to know how they're going to prove this, because it's one guy's word against another. It's a bit hard to classify it as a racial slur. You know, I don't want to step into uncharted territory here, but you know, it's like us calling each other wogs. I mean, is it racial if I call you a wog, Arthur? I mean, we all grew up being called wogs, but when we call each other wogs.
African Americans call each other.
Yeah, but most African Americans,
Negroes, whatever.
But that's
Yeah.
African
a
Americans.
white
aren't-
guy can't do that.
Well, most of them. I actually know some African Americans, and they say, "Don't call me African American because I'm not African. I'm American."
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know what the correct terminology is.
I don't know.
But apparently he called him a monkey. So the slur is in relation to his skin color, but they're both the same skin color. So I want to be careful how I tread here.
You know what? This
right?
this goes. Can we go macro instead of micro? You know, I mean, you mentioned last week about the point system and the tackles, and they have to play tag until a certain age. And we said that they're bringing up a bunch of my words, not Nico's, a bunch of weaklings.
Yeah.
Well, here's the early situation of exactly what we're talking about.
Well, apparently Ezra Man broke down and was crying.
Well, you know what? If Spencer Leniu called him anything, sledged him, whatever, okay, and got under his skin, and he didn't have a very good game, he did his job.
Yeah.
For me, he did his job. Imagine being playing against Michael Jordan. What he would say to you.
Well, sledging has always been part of sport, hasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, and you know what? I got this thing, and maybe I'm old school. What happens on the field stays on the field.
Yeah.
I'm very big on that because people
Well,
are gonna
that's what Spencer Leniu actually said as well.
Well, people are going to say I'm old school, and what I was called being. Look, if people don't know, my background's Greek. Nicola, and this doesn't matter. Nicola's background's Italian, and the gentleman across the desk, Ari's another Greek boy. We're born here. We're Australians, but back in the day, being raised in an Anglo-Saxon society, can you imagine what we were called?
We were wogs. We are wogs. We were called wogs, and you want to talk, and it's never thought of as racism. I mean,
I didn't think of it racism.
We never took it that way. But
we didn't.
When Latrell Mitchell complains about being called a name on Facebook, to me, that's not racism. Racism is having to put your hands up and defend yourself in the schoolyard or on the footy field or on the soccer field or in the shopping centre or wherever it happens, which is what we all had to do.
But how weak mentally are you if you honestly hear someone calling you a monkey or wog, whatever, and you break down and cry instead of either saying something back to him or next tackle lining him up and giving him one g'day, how are you?
Or like what we used to do, go and get 10 of your mates. But
either or, whatever works.
I will say this.
To run away and cry.
I will say this. It's only my opinion. I think it comes back to everyone gets a trophy. We don't play for points. We don't keep score.
I agree.
This is the end result 15 years later.
Well, look, Artie's dying to come in, as I call him, the voice of reason is dying to come in, because sometimes Nicola, I'm not going to speak for Nicola, definitely me, my views are maybe a little bit on the right side or right wing, but I think he's weak. I hope Spencer Leniu gets 0 because there's no audio. And if he said it, good he said it, because if he put him off his game, I'm all for it.
Worked.
Now, why? Now, I want to know why are we, like a lot of things, comparing today's rules and standards from the 50s and the 60s and you know what, whatever stays on, whatever happens on the field stays on the field. That's it.
Because
it's over.
Because today everybody gets offended.
I don't understand why, but how do we get here? How do we get here? And you know what? Everybody jumps on. And you know what annoys me? Robbo in an interview says, "Look, I didn't hear it. I spoke to Spencer."
Nobody did, apparently. Yeah.
Nobody heard it. I spoke to Spencer. I talked about the game. I wasn't even aware about the racial slur. Now, if he was or wasn't, I don't know. Okay. And he said, "Until I hear it, I don't believe anything." Oh, Latrell came out, slagged him.
Latrell's always the first person to come out.
All our Indigenous players, God bless them, they all came out.
But why is it a slur against Indigenous people? They're the same skin colour. I don't understand.
Is Isra? I don't think Isra is Indigenous. I think he's
well, then why?
Islander. Is he an Islander?
I don't know. I thought he was an.
He's Indigenous.
I think he's Indigenous.
I thought he was an Islander.
I'm not sure. I can't, to be honest.
I don't understand how we differentiate here with a slur of someone calling someone a monkey. I mean, they could call me a monkey.
I don't know.
Is that a racial slur because I'm white?
I don't know. I have no idea, and I don't understand. You know, maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe it's old school. My thinking is old school, and I haven't spoken to I haven't spoken to the boy wonder about it. But we're playing rugby league, yeah. Apparently, one of the most brutal games in the world. It's not only physically brutal; it's mentally brutal. Probably mentally more than physically. But if someone calls me, I don't know, it was a monkey. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. A monkey. I'm going to get so upset. And there was altercations, I believe, in the hotel.
No, nothing physical.
Nothing physical. Okay.
And let's be clear about something. I think I can speak on behalf of everyone here. None of us, under any circumstances, accept any kind of racism.
No.
Whether it's in the game or
two
anywhere
different
else.
things. Two different things now. Two different things, Nicola. What happens on the field stays on the field. Now,
we don't condone that. That's the word I was looking for.
No. I don't want Spencer Leniu to go out and call somebody anything.
Yeah.
But when it happens in the heat of battle, well, okay. Now Spencer, if he gets found guilty, he's going to get 12 weeks.
Well, you know
more.
what?
Is it really worth it? 12 weeks?
I mean, if you ask me, it's worth getting 12 weeks if you break the guy's jaw who insulted you. But that's how we would do it. But anyway.
And you know what? And I'm not going to... I'll just mention one thing. What was that centre who said something about gays or gods or something and got expelled from the game?
Israel Folau.
Never to be seen again?
Yeah, because he and I could be wrong here, but from what I understand, he quoted the Bible.
Yeah. Look, maybe I'm perplexed. That's what I'm saying. I'm perplexed.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it over to Arthur, the voice of reason, because I probably said too much.
No, it's all right.
Okay, I probably said too much, yeah. But Artie, what do you got for me?
I just found out he's Aboriginal. He definitely is.
Okay.
But it's funny because Ezra Mam's not the first person to cry being called a monkey. I think, what's his name? The guy from the Serie A, Balotelli. I think maybe sections of the crowd were chanting, doing monkey sounds, or so. I think it was him or another.
Yeah, they threw bananas on the field.
African player,
wait
and
a
they were
minute.
calling him monkey.
Wait a minute, that's
and
completely different.
Yeah, I know.
You're talking
That's
about
completely different.
tens
but I'm
of
just
thousands
saying,
of people.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying he's not the first one to cry. I've heard other African Americans, African players who have broken down being called a monkey. So
But were they being called a monkey by another African American?
I don't know.
Because that's the part that I'm trying to understand here. You know what I mean? If you call me a wog, is it offensive?
Yeah, it's just a
No.
term. It's just
You know what I
No,
mean?
not to me,
But
it's not.
that's my point, right?
Yeah. But he's not going to be the first or the last.
Let's move on from it. But
just one thing, I just wanted to bring a couple more points to that.
Yeah.
The timing of it, to do it in America.
Strange.
It's strange.
Strange.
It could work sort of well for Volandis because it just goes to show that we don't tolerate racism. And it sort of sends a clear message to America. Oh, look at these guys, how they're reacting to something like that. So it might actually be good publicity for the game.
Yeah, which means it might actually be premeditated. And we'll find out with what happens.
I'm not saying it's that.
Don't think so.
But the way it's been handled, it might actually work well.
Am I being racist if I call Volandis a wog?
Well,
I mean, he would probably
God,
take
he
that
is.
as a compliment, right?
you wouldn't think much of it.
But look, calling him weak, I don't know, mate.
Why?
To play the game, you've got to be tough, and you don't know what words came around it. There might have been words more than just monkey. So
I don't think George, correct me if I'm wrong, is referring to physical weakness.
No,
He's referring to
mentally weak. Yeah.
You have to be tough to play this game.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know if to him to react like that, there must have been more words to it, mate. You can't just break.
At the end of the day, we just don't need it. We
Yeah.
don't need it. We don't want it.
No. It shouldn't have happened. No. Let's put this in perspective. Okay, we're against it.
Yeah.
Any type of racial
Absolutely.
slur,
Unequivocally.
But what I'm saying is, if it does happen, well, let's not run home with our ball so that no one can play. It happened.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Headbutt him. I don't care.
Yeah.
Take him in the car park and have a fight. I don't know. I don't care. But to all this rigmarole of we've got other players. We're going to have the media now on it for how long? This poor guy's going to get 12 weeks. You know
That's the thing. That's the thing that's going to bug me with this. I want to see what the suspension's going to be because last year around this time we had some guys, White Powdergate, that did other things like that, which I think are far more serious and got 1 week. If this guy gets 12 weeks
he's gonna
for
get
saying
that.
something on the field,
He's going to get
that
burnt.
honestly, I don't think he had intent of hurting the guy. Lenu didn't think I'm going to make this guy. You know,
I don't think Lenu
there was no intention that. So to penalise a guy for 12 weeks for something like that,
and we got video footage of several Melbourne Storm players, or then Melbourne Storm players, obviously snorting cocaine.
yeah.
But
So
because it was in the off season, the league can't test them.
you can't exactly.
So if Lenu called him that in the off season, was
Well,
they just got to.
I don't know. The rules are any different. I don't know.
Look, I don't know.
Well, look, let's move on.
Monetary
from it.
fine in a week should be
Let's,
enough. I'm happy with the monetary. What would you be happy with? Just at the end, just the last.
Look, if he's
Monetary
found
fine.
guilty because somebody overheard whatever, if for whatever reason he's found guilty, give him 4 weeks and move on with it.
I reckon 1 week.
I've got
1
a
week
different
and
view on that. Okay.
50,000 fine to a charity.
Fair, yeah, to the charity, I like that.
I'll go to the charity, okay, and I'll and this is going to piss you off, Nicola, okay?
Right.
I'd like him to have not counselling, sort of to understand for the NRL
that's it.
why, if they want to eliminate these things.
Yeah, no,
exactly.
that's fair enough.
Because I'm pretty sure that it happens on every youngster junior rugby league grounds, junior soccer ground.
Seriously,
I think it does.
compared to what we used to do,
What? No,
Yeah.
please.
no, those days are over. But anyway,
Let's look at another interesting angle going back to the first game, which we kind of overlooked, was the ongoing grudge between Dimitreo and Ceebs, right? So those coaches have been at each other's throats for a couple of years now. So I heard the story over the weekend of how it actually began.
Okay.
It was when Anthony Ceebs, Jason Dimitreo, Kevin Walters, and actually Michael Maguire all applied for the Broncos job, which Ceebs actually got. And Dimitreo came out and said that he apparently found out that the decision was already made before the interviews were conducted. And during the interviews, as part of the process, Jason Dimitreo presented a PowerPoint presentation, as you do these days. And part of that presentation was showing his accomplishments as a coach in the New South Wales Cup. He won 4 premierships. Anthony Ceebs had won nothing.
Yeah.
That's how it all started. And they've been slanging at each other ever since.
Because of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And look, if you ask me, they've both won nothing
yes.
because no one really
really.
looks at Cup.
I know, but in the
Right.
junior ranks, well, he won what he had to win at the junior ranks.
None of
So
them
it's
have
still
won
good.
enough to be able to start throwing shit at each
Yeah,
other.
exactly,
Right?
exactly.
Because they've won nothing in the major league. So, and as we all know, that's where it counts, right?
Yeah.
I heard the same story, so I went digging, and you'll be surprised that Anthony, which I think he's a good coach. Well, he knows, like I said, more. He knows what he's forgotten. I know less than that, but when he was at England, that's where he forged his career in England at the Broncos, and he had a winning success ratio of 35%. Good old Ceebs. Then
South. No, is it South before Broncos?
or it was a South at the Broncos.
He was in England before South.
Yeah.
Oh, was he?
London Broncos. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
London
London Broncos.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Then he took a French team, Saint LS something whatever, which he really was flying there at 12% success winning ratio. He had Hull, and they were really good because he had 63%. I didn't even have South. Did he make a grand final with South?
Prelim.
A prelim. Okay, so it must have been over 50%.
But when you're talking about Super League, we've got coaches like Michael Maguire and Justin Holbrook who won competitions. They've come in, they've both been sacked recently as well.
Okay, well, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
But right at the moment, he's sitting at 48%. I'll tell you. Yeah, Dimitri's. Yeah, he's just won three comps in England and 4 youngster comps but you're right.
But he
They've
also
won.
has the unwanted record of being the first coach in the first team to be leading the comp after 11 rounds and not make the 8.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
So that's a first.
I'll talk about Dimitri's soon if you want. You know what? I'll tell you all about Dimitri, what I think.
Look, he was at St George in the juniors, and he did a fantastic job. He won the comp,
You won the
and then he won
Colours,
he won the reserve grade comp. He won it,
yeah.
and then he beat the Queensland team in the grand final. So
Before
and that's the
that-
first silverware St George got in the juniors since they merged. So he did He did very well at St George. He's won
Absolutely.
everything he can possibly
Absolutely.
do
Well, that's
in
when
each competition he's
that's
been
when
in.
you-
So he's done well.
that's when you brought it up to him. That's when I was aware of him. When
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
When you
He's a good
suggested
coach,
him.
but
Oh,
yeah.
he's a good coach.
It's just NRL's a different.
They're
kettle of
actually
fish.
both
It's
good
not easy.
coaches.
Yeah,
they're actually
exactly.
both good.
Yeah, but
coaches.
like you said, NRL is a different beast. So-
Exactly, it is.
And
It's a
it,
different
and, it,
beast.
and you know, we've seen coaches win competitions in their first season. It's very, very rare. You know,
Yeah.
it does take a few years to get used to it. I mean,
Well-
Ricky Stewart won it in his first season, and he hasn't won it in 20-something years since.
Gus done the same, didn't he? In
Well,
the
he won a
first year?
couple. Yeah, he won it in 88. He won it in 91, right?
Wayne Bennett didn't win his first.
No,
in
he-
his first year.
No.
Bellamy didn't win his first year.
No. Bennett, I think it was his fourth year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but anyway, look, it's exciting. I want to see it keep going. So it adds a little bit of spice to
I
the,
do enjoy the little snipes they
Yeah,
take.
yeah.
They take to each other. The little snipes here, snipes there. It's fun. It's fun. I wait for it actually.
Did we see over the first, and it's only 2 games, did we see, because we brought this up last week, any evidence of salary cap working or not working?
Okay, this is very interesting because what Volandis said, and I'm sure you've got that written in your running list. A salary cap goes with a draft. A salary cap, how it is right this moment, is null and void. It's not a salary cap because Bulldogs go and buy 12, 13 players.
Is that all?
Well,
They're up
is
to
that
20,
all?
aren't they?
I think so.
But I mean, to be fair, they probably
well, good
released
players-
12 or 13 players in the last 2
but
years.
Good players go to good teams. It's very rare that Luai goes to West. Very rare that happens. Very rare at that standard of
What's
player.
your point?
Well, the salary cap doesn't work. If you're gonna have a cap,
Yeah,
you've got to have a draft. Okay, so you think about if you're gonna leave.
I've always been opposed to the draft. You know me.
But see what happens? Well, no, what will happen? This is what happened. You'll think about it. If you want to leave, you will actually have a really.
Well,
good
I
think
just
about
think everyone should have the freedom of choice to choose where they want to work. You know, like in assuming you can get a job there. You know what I mean?
Don't have a draft. Don't have a.
You
salary
shouldn't be
cap.
told, Arthur, you shouldn't be told, pack your family up, you're going to Queensland next month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe you don't want to live in Queensland. Maybe you don't want to play for a Queensland team.
Yeah.
I just don't like the idea. Look, I've always had a problem with authority, but I just don't like the idea of being told this is where you're going, this is what you're doing. And if I remember correctly, and I'm going back to 91 or 2, something like that, I think Terry Hill broke the back
Oh, it's illegal.
of the draft because
illegal.
he was moved on, I believe, from West, or he was going to be
Gotta go to
drafted,
West, yeah, from Manly to West.
and he took it to court and he won,
It's illegal.
and the draft basically died at that point. Am I right?
yeah,
Am
it's
I
illegal.
remembering correctly?
I'm surprised why they don't challenge it now with the salary cap because
salary cap's
do you think
illegal.
Luai wants to leave? Do you think
No.
Crichton wanted to leave?
Oh,
do you
no,
think
for
Kikau wanted to
sure.
leave?
No,
They've
no.
been forced to leave because of the
right.
salary cap.
That's
They
right.
can easily put a thing and say Penrith want to keep me, but they're not allowed to because they've got to follow this salary cap.
Yeah.
They could do exactly what Terry Hill does, and I'm surprised no one's challenged it.
Does it become
They
does
should do
it
it.
become a
I'm
restraint? Does it become a restraint of
Yes.
trade in the everyday?
It is.
Yeah,
It's illegal.
in a
It's
court of
worse
law.
now because you're forced out of home. Before you're forced, to go somewhere, but now they're saying, "Oh, I don't want you to live there anymore. You have to move because
Or-
we want to keep you, but
or-
we can't because of the
or-
rules."
Not necessarily forced. You could take a pay cut, but why
But
should
why should you
anyone?
take a pay
I agree.
cut?
I agree.
That's
I'm
not
just
fair.
saying. I know, absolutely, I agree. You should with the third parties. It kind of throws a spanner into the works anyway, doesn't it? Because
the cap. Look, you honestly believe Brisbane is under the cap?
I don't believe anyone is.
I don't believe anyone is either. But come on, Brisbane gives you 200,000 and the sponsor gives you 500.
But how many players have they bought from other clubs?
No,
I've got
they're
nothing
blessed.
against Brisbane.
No, they're blessed.
I hope they're over the cap. That's great.
But they're blessed.
can I
They're
throw-
blessed.
by millions of players.
but
they're the ones that
But
bug me
Brisbane
that
is
are over the
blessed
cap.
because they've got the whole state to pick from. Okay, they're blessed. Okay, when we come into Sydney, that's when it gets hard.
Can I throw a hypothetical?
Yeah.
And I'm not making any accusations. This is purely, strictly an example, a hypothetical, right? When the cap was brought in, I think it was the late 90s, I remember Parramatta got caught. They got into some trouble because they had some players. I specifically remember Dallas Weston was one of the players, but they had some players who were on probably an average wage at the time, a good wage, the best rugby league had seen for an average, the highest average at that point. but their wives had jobs in the leagues club, working behind the bar at $200,000 a year, right?
Lucky them,
right? So you can see how the money was being funneled, obviously, and they got caught out doing it. Now we've got a situation where we had Ivan Cleary and Nathan Cleary living under the same roof up until just recently. What's to say there's no cap with the coaches, right?
no cap.
So what's to say Ivan Cleary?
I thought there was.
There is, but something crazy.
What's to say Ivan Cleary
Well, they get millions. All of them
isn't getting paid $5 million, and 2 of that's going to Nathan?
Maybe.
I mean, who can police that?
Can't.
And by the way, I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just throwing a hypothetical again, right?
But George, I want to go to what you just said before. You said Brisbane's got the whole state to choose from.
Yeah.
How did Melbourne end up with 3 immortals that were from Queensland?
Yeah.
They ended up with Inglis. Or was it Smith and Slater?
Well, they're not immortals.
But they were Brisbane players, so Brisbane could have had them. So I'm just saying they might have the state, but if you're smart enough, you can get them from young.
They do. That's
do
what
that,
Gus is
which is-
doing now.
But
That's
it-
what
not
Gus is
really.
doing now.
But-
Well, Gus is
but
taking
Melbourne's-
youngsters from Queensland.
But Melbourne was
Bought
always
3 of the Penrith Guns. Man.
Oh yeah, but youngsters. He's buying youngsters from
Yeah,
Queensland.
fair enough, youngsters, but he's
First of all, Inglis was born in New South Wales.
yeah, I know, but he played for.
But a lot of Queenslanders went to Melbourne because it was anti-Sydney, really.
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
So it
yeah.
became like a second hub for the Queenslanders.
Look, the point is that a salary cap doesn't work without a draft. If you want to be real about it, if you want to disperse talent evenly, which I disagree, but if you want to disperse talent evenly, you got to have a draft, okay? But I'm against the salary cap. The only reason I'm against the salary cap, just look at Penrith, getting depleted every
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's a joke.
getting depleted 3 or 4
Build the
superstars.
Strengthen your juniors.
But
mate.
and I agree because it's simply just not fair.
It's not
It's like Arthur said, players would want to leave, but
No.
they have to. But could you argue that the salary cap's working because it hasn't affected Penrith? It hasn't affected them one iota.
Because they've got the best nursery in the world and the
Well,
best run,
exactly.
the best run club
the
in the world.
bottom
And that's-
line is that it has not affected them
Exactly.
one little bit.
Yeah, but every team would be good if you had a well-run club.
Well, that's,
and invested in juniors. Look how much money they pour into juniors. It's not Penrith's
No,
fault.
I'm
Clubs
just
don't
saying.
invest in juniors.
So
Canterbury had a big block. They just didn't. They stopped throwing money towards it, and that's why they've got none.
You do realise that all the youngsters are not just in that Penrith section. Like there's Forbes and Young. And
Yeah.
they go everywhere to find kids.
Yeah.
Like they've got a system of finding
I'm
kids.
just saying.
They
on
go
the,
to New Zealand.
on the surface, when you look at it, it hasn't affected them.
That's right.
well, that's what
Really?
they do. They bring up youngsters.
So you can make an argument that maybe it works because they're staying strong, but other teams are being strengthened, like the Bulldogs now, by signing some of their top players.
Yeah, but it doesn't disperse things. So what? So this is what happened. If you're Crichton
Yep.
and you want to leave, okay, you get put on the market, and you got to think about who came last? Tigers. You got to think, am I going to go to?
Well, I mean, no, he could go anywhere he wanted to.
Well, no. If there was
If it's a draft, no, it's a team that's coming last gets first choice.
Yeah.
Oh no, I told you I don't agree with the draft.
Well,
under the salary
it
cap, he can
doesn't
go
work,
wherever he
but-
wants.
Yeah,
But I get your
it
point
doesn't
though.
work.
It makes you think about
You
going
think
on the
about it.
draft,
So-
and you'll take the less to stay
Yeah.
at your own club.
you
Yeah.
take the list.
So going back to your point, why should you accept less money? Because I said before,
Yeah, I know,
players
you
they're
shouldn't.
they're not forced to leave; they can take a pay
Exactly.
cut. But why should that? The draft is the same then.
That's why I've
So
always said
take
it.
less money or go where we send you.
No, so salary cap should be $2 million, and that should only be spent on players from abroad. You can spend as much as you want for your own players. If Canterbury's offering 800, Penrith say, okay, we'll give you that.
Yeah, I think there could be adjustments made to the existing method with the cap. By first of all, it doesn't apply to any junior that gets blooded through your system, right?
Absolutely,
It
yes.
doesn't. Anyone who's been there for a set amount of time, whatever, who's only pulled that jersey on, should not be. It should only be when you buy externally. First grade players externally.
Exactly.
I
In
agree.
the top 30 squad.
That's what
I think
Adi said.
Yeah,
Youngsters
If
are
they make
free.
a
I think
debut
that
for
could
another
work.
club, that's
Yeah,
it. They're in your cap.
I think that could work.
I think
And I
so.
also think we could also adopt the system that European soccer uses, where the clubs, and we've tinkered with it, but where the clubs pay the money to acquire a player
yeah.
from another club,
Transfer
they
fee.
buy them out of their contract, transfer fee. So, look, there's I think between
Don't-
the three
don't
of
the-
us, we could fix this game up.
Don't the club put a transfer fee on them?
Well,
The club say you can get this guy, but you got to pay us.
in soccer, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have
I love
players,
that.
you have players
Super League does too.
you have players who extend contracts mid-season who know they're leaving at the end of the season, but they extend the contract and they'll put the buyout clause at 120 million or 130 million euros.
Yep.
And basically they've just, okay, we know he's going to leave, but now we're going to get 130 million for him.
Yeah.
So that's what happens with Super League when they come here. You got to buy them out. You got to pay the club first.
Yeah.
And then you negotiate.
And some of
with
our
the-
Canterbury did it with the youngster from Queensland. What's his name?
They bought him out. Yeah, they paid.
They're $500,000.
Yeah, the guy
Canberra
got
did it for one of the English players. I forget who it is now. Was it the halfback who ended up
it was.
leaving?
Yes. What's his name again?
So we've
Yeah.
tinkered with it, but just some
And
food for thought.
and currently there is a salary whatever it is. They've got a salary grant for players that have played over 10 years. I think it's $500,000,
They should be exempt
which is
from the
something
cap.
small anyway.
Should be
but
8
it's a
years.
tiny amount. They should make that amount bigger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of
And-
like
and-
500,000 or
and
something
8
like
years.
that's nothing.
And not 10 years. 8
Yeah,
years.
make it 8 years. Once they hit 100 games, first grade games, what's wrong with that?
No. They're too
Why
young.
not?
They're too young.
That's about 4 seasons though. 4 or 5 seasons.
Okay.
Once you hit 100,
Okay.
it goes half your salary cap, and then once you hit 200, it's free.
Okay. I like it.
What
That I
reckon?
like. That I like.
Or just remove the cap altogether.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
I was saying to George off air before we came in here, and a lot of people would throw eggs at me. I don't think it's a great competition. I think the top half of the competition is a fantastic competition. But when you look at last season, look at a team like the Dolphins, I think they won 9 games. And there were other teams who won around the same. When you've got 24, 25, 26 rounds in a season, and you've got teams who finish in single figures, that's not a great competition,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I think there's already too many teams in the comp, and it's going to get worse when we expand even more.
Yeah.
Because I just think it's too thin. I'll go back to the Super League concept, 12 to 14 teams maximum.
Yeah.
You know what freaks me out about this year, just going back to the Canterbury thing, if you look at the Dolphins, how many players they've brought in, and they're a new club, they started last year compared to how many Canterbury. Why has Canterbury brought in more players than the Dolphins, and they're just a newly established club? How does that make
That's a
sense
great
to
point,
you?
yeah.
How does that make sense to anyone that they're under the cap?
Adi.
Well, they were an existing club, but in terms of the first grade team, I think they brought everyone in, right? The Dolphins.
Well, a lot of them, they've got some youngsters, but still, second year in, they haven't brought anyone else. They've only brought 3 or 4 players.
You know what?
It was a tough sell too. Like it was difficult. They missed out on a lot. They went for a lot of players. They missed out on.
And
Gus Gould doesn't miss.
no. And I asked me that question. He goes, "How did you get 12, 13 players in 1 year?" And I just looked at it and I just shrugged my shoulders. I got no idea how he does it. It's not heard of. It's not
It
seen.
is. It's not seen. I haven't seen
not
it for a
seen.
long time.
And they just got another one today.
Actually, it has been seen.
Effective immediately.
That run that St George had back in the 50s.
Yeah.
That's what used to happen.
Yeah.
They used to tinker around with because you have to live in the area.
Yeah.
Okay, and they would tinker around with that, and all of a sudden, they get
Is it true, Arthur?
that would get all these players from all the other teams, especially West.
Oh,
Or,
really?
Yeah, change the borders and this and that. Yeah.
Is it true a story that someone once told me? I'm not going to name names, right?
Uh-huh.
That back in that era, I believe West beat St George in one of the semi-finals, and St George ended up coming back and winning the premiership, and then they bought the entire West team for the following season.
Oh,
Most
did
of
they?
it.
I don't know.
They put him in reserve grade.
Oh,
Yeah.
did
They
they?
put him in
Yeah.
reserve grade.
Oh, wow.
Way before my time.
Yeah.
I didn't AC Milan.
George, yeah, exactly. George, they used to buy the best players in the world and keep on the bench. Why'd you bring that up for, Arthur? I just have to point out that Napoli beat Juventus this morning. Moving right along, right? Is AFL talking smack on rugby league? Or
You know what? Let me.
Fill me in here. I've got to know. What
Yeah.
happened?
I listened to some pods as well, and yes, I listened to an AFL pod, and they're talking smack, all right. They say what that NRL thinks they can go to America, and all of a sudden they're going to have a team there, or they're going to have a competition, or there's going to be all these players coming from America. Let me tell you, any AFL supporters, okay? Yes, the crowds are much bigger in AFL. I've got to admit that, and I'm envious of it. But when it comes to dollars and cents, guess who's second? You guys.
Revenues are
Okay,
blitz.
yeah, revenue. You know, when it comes to viewers, and I said to Artie last year that you guys have got more viewers. Guess what? I was wrong. Here's a second again. Guess what? We can go any part in the world because of rugby. Thank God for rugby, and we can play 7s, 9s. And guess what? You cannot do what Peter V'landys did last weekend. You can't do it because no one gives a fuck about AFL. No one cares. No one understands AFL. So you can talk smack all you want. At best, you will be a domestic game. At best. At best. And guess what? I thought that rugby league was going to whittle away, but guess what? I've changed my mind. AFL is going to whittle away, and NRL with V'landys, and I hope he doesn't leave, will take over and be the number one sport in the country if it's not already.
If V'landys is smart, he'll run his course and then he'll go down and take over AFL and start pitting it against rugby league. Yeah. He's got a whole other career.
So you know what? I was hearing them talk, and I'm going, "What are you guys talking about?" Like really giving it to rugby league, really giving it to rugby league. I'm thinking, and they got me angry. You know, I mean, the guy's doing his. V'landys is a god for me. What he's done.
Yeah. I saw something scary today, mate. There was an article in America talking about the game, and they were referring it to as rugby.
Yeah, no, that's
they always do.
No, that's fine.
always
V'landys
do.
doesn't mind.
That's scary.
No, V'landys doesn't mind.
That, man.
V'landys doesn't mind.
Because it puts it with Wallabies, then they watch a Wallabies game, and then they get turned right off. They look at it and they go, "Oh my god, what is this game?" And I've been told that firsthand when I'm in America.
Yeah.
As soon as they say Wallabies, I say I can't watch Wallabies. I say no, it's different. Yeah. And they've got to get rid of the word rugby, man. I don't know.
Just put league on the end of it.
Just put league. Yeah, just call it league.
V'landys,
just league, yeah.
I had an interview, and V'landys was very clear. He doesn't expect rugby league players to come out from America. He doesn't expect to have a competition in America. One thing, revenue.
Yeah.
Betting.
Gambling.
That's where it starts. That's where it ends. Okay? If he shows America the game, they can bet on it. They can buy the app, and that's what he's hoping. That's what the big number is, which they'll never tell us.
Yeah.
Buy the app, and that's betting. It's all about revenue. Don't think for 1 minute we're going to have a team in America. Don't think we're going to get all these American youngsters streaming through. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Maybe 7s, maybe 9s, maybe. We haven't got a 7s or 9s competition. And the only reason we can get 7s or 9s is because of rugby. And because of rugby, don't downplay rugby. Because of rugby is the only in we have for America to watch rugby league, because they've seen, the whole world's seen rugby. Even Greece has got a 7s team. The whole world's got a 7s team of rugby. Yeah. So I hate rugby. I call it child abuse. Nico's going to laugh now. I call it child abuse watching that.
Yeah.
Okay, but
getting your child to play rugby
it's given us a way in.
Yeah. True.
In saying that, in the combine, Canberra picked up a woman for the NRLW, and she looks like a prospect, and so is the Titans picked up
from America.
In that combine they had nothing from the male side of it, but and I encourage the NRL to put on a NRLW game.
Well, I think an NRLW game would have been a great curtain raiser for the obviously the event was a success.
Yes.
So I'd like to get both your take on this. Vegas was an event for the NRL. Why can't every week be an event? Now, obviously, there was a lot of investment gone into it, but how can every week be an event? Like,
they invest.
Can we take a Magic round to Vegas for a weekend?
I don't think you can.
No,
it's too much travel. Well, I want to see how all these 4 teams recover in 2 weeks, and then I'll make a call on that.
Well, they've got this weekend off, so they've got plenty of time to recover.
So if they do a Magic round, we're going to give them another week off and watch no football for a week while they recover. Well, I don't want that.
Why not?
I just want continual rounds. I want no state of origin, let alone a Magic round over in America. So,
well, don't forget, when they leave the States to come back here, they miss a day completely. So
I'd love them if they do a pre-season tournament in America over 2 weeks. Put all 16 teams in there, knockout. 16 to 8 to 4 to 2, and that's it.
Who's
done.
the 17th team? Who misses out?
They go to the club challenge.
Okay, yeah,
There
good
you go.
point.
Too easy.
Oh,
Got the
George,
perfect number.
why don't we just have the club challenge over there
Great idea.
That's a good idea too. Yeah.
Fantastic idea.
and
Anything
bring
with,
the English crowd into it as well?
anything with world,
Wow, that'll be
anything with world in it, Americans love it. World Series, world champions, they love it.
And they're all sports that are only played in one country.
Love it.
Baseball,
Love
gridiron.
it. I love that way. I love that way they think. But no, that's a great idea. Have an NRL game. Have an NRLW game. And the caveat is the World Club Championship. You're gonna get English people coming over.
Yeah.
So let's get real. We're never gonna have 70 or 80,000 Americans in that stadium. Not gonna happen. Forget about it. We're gonna have 50 Australians maybe Monday, maybe. We might have 20,000 English, and we're gonna have maybe 15, 20,000 Americans. We are never, and it's never meant to be that way. It's never meant for the stadium to be filled up with Americans. I know we all think that's what we all thought was going to happen. Not going to happen.
That's a vision.
Not going to happen.
The,
Not going to happen.
The American.
So back to your point, Nicola,
Yeah.
about World Club Champions, we get 20,000 Wiggum psychos there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We get another 40 or 50 Australians, and what was the count this year? 15,000. I bet you next year's 25,000. I'm going. I've already told Anna, we're going.
We should do a pod from over there.
I'll do a plot over there if he's come. Come
The-
on down.
the American-
I think Adi loves Vegas.
Well, like I said, I've been there 5-6 times, so you don't have
You
to
must
twist
love
my arm. That's in the last 10 years. The American college football is huge. We all know that, right? The college game over there. Is there any potential to infiltrate the college system with NRL in terms of exposure?
A good question. Because look, there's so many players that play NFL and don't make it, so we should catch on to that and get those guys that aren't successful in NFL to bring them into rugby league. I think it's a great opportunity. And another thing I was going to mention too with the rugby league, it's played in the off season of the NFL season, so it's a good time to play it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'll be targeting actually, because if you go to the colleges and start bringing out systems there, you're bound to find some gold in there for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nico, that was the smartest question you gave us. Brilliant. Genius. You're a genius. And I'll tell you why. In Excess, before they were big in America, decided to go through the college systems, and they gigged at every university.
Oh,
and
did they?
kept on gigging at every university. And guess what? Kids leave school, don't they? And guess what? In Excess still releases records, and all of a sudden they release Kick. And everybody went and bought Kick.
That went number one, didn't it?
They went number
the
one in
US?
America because they've been listening to NXS for the last 3 years in their college. And once the radio station worked out that they're selling so many copies, they listened to the record, they played it. So yes, Nicola,
That's smart.
Why don't yeah, they did it. Why don't we go into the college systems? Be it set up a competition in the college system,
Yeah.
be it having combines in there to try to find kids. What a great age to find them. 16, 17, 18,
Yeah.
19.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not because I believe the people who tried out were in their mid-20s in this combine. So we're getting them at the right age. So you're a genius. What a great question, and I love it. but Peter Verlandis, he's got to put money. He's got to put his hand in his pocket, and I don't think he's gone backwards. He suggested that this didn't cost him as much as we think. Now, if he's been strategic, I don't
Depends
know.
how much of it was sponsorship investment.
He said that it was more than we think.
Okay.
And he said that in 3 years it's going to come out pretty much in his prediction. It's going to come out pretty square, which is pretty good in 3 years. If it
Well, I
comes
mean,
out
every
square.
good corporate identity has a 3-year roadmap. So, what I thought was interesting and funny was that on Saturday morning, I read that. Well, actually, I read it on Sunday morning that on Saturday morning, our Sunday morning, the US Saturday in the US, 12 club CEOs landed in Vegas, all ready to pitch to the NRL why they should be there next year.
Oh, wow.
So that's interesting. Everyone's jumping on the band, and Wayne Bennett was the first.
Of course,
He's
he
not
was.
even going to beat the Dolphins next year.
He'll be the
Yeah.
next franchise.
Did you notice something as well before the first game of the Vegas games came on? Fox 1 had a delay because there was a college
Yes,
Yeah.
it went
basketball
over.
game that
It
went
went
on.
over.
So we've got a kids game that went on.
Yeah.
The latest showing our rugby league.
So, they
I
missed,
found that
so they
funny.
missed the intro.
Yeah, they missed the whole
That
intro.
was bad planning, wasn't it?
Yeah,
They
tell me
didn't-
about
They
it.
didn't factor that in.
They switched over and they saw Saab running down. Honestly, the first vision of rugby league was watching Saab going down the sideline scoring a try. That's a true story.
So let's mix things up a bit because I don't think Artie's been talking enough, George. He's
Yes.
been a bit quiet tonight. So let's hit Ask Artie.
Ask Artie. Okay, yeah, I've got a few things, boys. I've got a very interesting. I did a bit of analysis on over the weekend about top 8.
Yeah.
Okay, so I looked at the last 10 years. And in the last 10 years, we've had one top 4 team, we've not about half the time, one top 4 team completely drop out of the 8. So if I was to ask you from the last year's top 8, top 4, which is Penrith, Brisbane, Melbourne and New Zealand, which one of those 4 teams do you think will not make the top 8?
Say them again.
If I had to tell you which
The
one
teams,
team
which-
will not make... Oh,
Give me the
okay.
4 teams again.
Penrith, Brisbane, Melbourne and New Zealand.
Have to pick New Zealand.
You pick New Zealand?
I have to.
I'll go Brisbane.
Only because I can't pick the other 3.
I'll go Brisbane.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll go Brisbane, Artie.
You'd go Brisbane?
Yeah.
Okay, that's just an interesting question. What if now the other stat with that is 3 teams out of the 8 usually don't make it.
Yeah, it's 3 in, 3 out, isn't
So
it? usually?
3 in, 3 out.
Yeah.
There's been years where it's been 2 in, 2 out, but average it's about 3.
Canberra.
So
number
which
1.
3 teams would you take out?
Canberra.
So you
number
got
1.
on that you got Newcastle, Cronulla, Roosters, and Canberra. So which 3 would you take out of
Well,
that?
Cronulla have the softest draw again.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
So they'll be
They're
in.
in. They're in.
Roosters.
They're going to be. They're
They'll be in for
they're
sure.
top
Top
4,
four.
top
Exactly.
6. Yeah.
Yeah. Top 4.
Then you got Newcastle and Canberra left.
Well, Canberra.
Well, both
won.
of those teams for me won't make it.
You won't make
Canberra,
it. And what about your third team? You have to pick a third.
Warriors.
Who's
The
gonna-
Warriors?
I don't know. I really don't know.
It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's gonna
It's
pu-
tough.
who's gonna
It's
push
very
in?
rare they all make it back
Yeah.
again.
But
so-
Artie, the thing is, he's going to push in.
Well, you got Parramatta and you got Cowboys. You got Manly.
Cowboys,
so there's
definitely.
strong teams in there
Definitely Cowboys.
going in there. So
So interestingly,
Bulldogs.
Interesting.
Bulldogs. Don't forget the Bulldogs.
yeah, exactly.
so interestingly with Parramatta, I had a quick look earlier at the draw this season. So they've got the most 5-day turnarounds of any team, right? With 4, they're playing 4 teams coming off a bye, and they play Roosters, Souths, Melbourne, Penrith, Broncos twice.
And that's why they won't make the 8.
That's a tough draw.
If
tough.
they
Yeah.
make the 8 and beat all those teams, okay, well, we're talking, we have to have them in the conversation.
That's a tough
Yeah.
draw.
So I went further looking into these last 10 seasons of finals football, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've had, I'll tell you which coaches have won in the last 10 years.
Come on, tell me. This
There's
is what
been
I'm,
about-
this is
there's
the stuff
been 2
I'm
of us.
talking about.
3 Cleary,
Yep,
3 Robbo,
yep.
right? So they're both on 3. Bellamy with 2. And then you've got Flano, Maguire and Green, who have won
Flano,
1.
Maguire, and
And
Green. Okay, Green fluked it because he just had a good team.
Well, guess what? That was his first year of NRL. Remember we spoke before?
Yeah,
Which
with
coach
Green.
could win it?
Green,
Was it really?
Yeah.
you sure?
Yeah. He just took over from Tim Smith. I think it was his first year.
Okay, maybe.
If you look at the stats, and it was, what's his name? Robbo's first year when he won it with Roosters.
yeah,
It-
that I know. That I know.
It's funny because again, wow. When I think about it, that's twice now. Brisbane was seconds away from winning that grand final, less than a minute, and the Cowboys scored in the corner.
the Cowboy one.
Remember?
Yeah, the Bronco. I think Supercoach would have had another one.
Yeah, less than a minute.
Yeah.
Well, he's not even in the last 10 years. Supercoach Bennett hasn't won one, and Desi. They're not even enlisted in the last 10
Well,
years.
Desi was 2011. Wayne Bennett would have been 2010.
Yeah, so just before. I look at the last 10 years.
So it's exactly what I say. There's coaches which can get you out of the bottom 8
Yeah.
and get you into the 8, and then there's other coaches which can finish a team off, make them into a premiership contender.
Yeah.
So it's exactly what I said. Not many coaches have won They've won comps. Or there's certain coaches that can win your comp. And when we're talking about that, how about Smith? One of your favourite coaches.
Exactly.
Brian
yeah.
Smith.
Brian Smith has gone
4 grand finals.
many times. He's gone many times
4
to the
and
dance.
3 lost to Bennett.
And through the Bennett, okay? And maybe 2 of those teams were specials.
yeah.
One St George team and definitely the Parramatta team,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about later.
Do we have to?
Yeah. They were specials, and it just and his brother in England, let me tell you, has done the same thing.
Tony Smith.
Yeah, he's taken 3 teams to the grand final and 2 teams to the Challenge Cup, and he's lost them all.
Yeah.
So there's some coaches that can take you to the dance, but can't just finish you off.
The question I want to ask you guys, all right? Think about it carefully, right? Out of those coaches that have won in the last 10 years, you got Cleary, Robbo, Bellamy, and Flano, right? What do you reckon is going to happen this year? Do you reckon one of those 4 coaches are going to win, or do you reckon a newbie?
Look, Flano's not going to win. No offense.
No, if you had to put money on a newbie
one
or
of
one of
those
those 4,
One of those 4 will win.
You reckon one of those
It's
4?
hard to go past Ivan Cleary again. I mean, Bennett, no chance. Flano, no, sorry, Bennett's not in the conversation. Is
Bennett's
he?
not
Who
in the
was it again?
conversation.
Cleary,
So you've got Cleary,
Flano.
Robbo, Bellamy, and Flano.
Bellamy's not. Melbourne's not going to win it,
Yeah.
right? No, they're not. Look, they've lost. They're not Penrith. They've lost so much star power over the last couple of years. As good as they are, I know they finished well last season, but we can't even guarantee their players will be fit. You can't guarantee that for anyone. But they've just had a lot of bad luck with injury.
That's true.
I just don't think they can win it. But I think
agree
definitely
with you.
Trent Robertson and Ivan Cleary, that might even be the grand final.
If you had to pick a newbie outside of those 4, who would you pick?
Oh, Brad Arthur for sure. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Right?
Who would you pick? Seriously, who would you pick?
Who would I pick?
Webster?
Well,
Payton?
Webster popped into my head, but then I'd really be a hypocrite because I just said the Warriors won't make the 8. I think Payton's a chance
Yeah.
if they come good.
No,
We should be saying Fitzy,
next year.
shouldn't we?
Yeah.
But we all know that the first 25 weeks means nothing for Fitzy. It all comes down to that first semi-final
Yeah.
again, right? Because now that's becoming a bit of a
I
thing.
hope he's not that type of coach who
Yeah.
can get people into the 8 but not finish them off. I hope, because I love Fitzy.
Well, they should have given him a hard draw and we'd know sooner rather than later.
Bloody Eddinghausen
Right?
again. Bloody Eddinghausen again.
I think, look, I definitely think without question both Trent Robinson and Ivan Cleary themselves and also their squads have got at least one more in them in the near future.
Yeah. So if
Outside of that, sorry, to answer your question outside of that,
outside of that, so you think no other coaches? Like,
yeah.
if you had to
Well,
put money on someone,
the
it'd be
Cowboys.
the
coach.
Payton guy.
Todd Payton, yeah.
I'd pick Dimitreo, to be honest. I think if there's any coach outside of that can win it, I think those 4 are shoo-ins.
We're
I
gonna
reckon
have-
one of those 3 are going to win it anyway.
Are we going to have
But
this
I'd give it
argument
to
again?
No, I'm just saying.
We had it this time last year.
Just because of his team on paper. I think he's got a stronger team.
They
than
do,
others.
they
That's
do.
That's the only reason.
I hope what I saw on the weekend isn't the facts, because what I saw was no different to last year from Dimitreo. He's letting them do, because Latrell looks engaged. It's more Latrell, not Dimitreo, number 1. And I know Jack's coming back, and at some stage Campbell's going to come back, because that
Halfway through the season, apparently.
that centre that they had, he's only for Reggie's.
Yeah.
I don't know what his name was. I don't want to know his
Kennard.
name. With Kennard, he maybe should go and work at Kennard's, because let me tell you, he's not a first grade centre, and that's when they just spotted him up and they ripped him apart. But what I saw is no different to what I saw last year. Okay, and I love him, and and even Nickel stuck up for him, but Ilias has got to go to Reggie's, and they've got to bring Hawkins up.
Look, for me,
I saw nothing. And you want to give me stats?
No, I'm not going to give you stats.
No,
at all.
no, please do that, because I want to show everybody how visually you can see one thing, but stats can say something else. Now, watch the game, and if you think he's put that ball where DC put that ball, and we're like right in the corner, and the first tackle. Go and look at the first tackle from Manly, and go and look at the first tackle from Souths where they were tackling. And then you told me that the kick was the right kick, because DC put it on a point. And you know the worst thing is, Nathan, okay, he puts it even worse for you. You have to come like a half a foot in the in-gold, and you get tackled on the line.
I manage a high level team at work, and every day, everything revolves around stats, metrics, KPIs. And I'm the first one to tell you, stats are like bikinis. They show you a lot, but you can't see everything.
Yeah.
All right? And what you can't see, that's where the magic is.
Yeah.
And they can be very misleading, right? So I'll go on the record now. I know both of you guys are going to hate me for it, but I'm telling you, we've been talking about Ilias for 2 years for nothing. He's just another standard NRL halfback who's never going to play rep footy. He's just going to be one of those guys.
Well,
I don't know what you see in him because I don't see it.
I didn't look. You know what? I never suggested he should play rep footy, but
Well, what I mean is he's never going to go to that level.
that level. Okay.
Not based on what I've seen. He's going to be another Luke Brooks.
Can you?
And the pressure mounts more every year. He might have to change clubs like Brooksy did, but
Can you
do it a
tell us
lot
those
earlier.
stats? Can you tell me those stats between DCE and Lockie?
Oh, DCE.
And I'm going to say I'm a big Lockie fan.
Just the
hurts
kick
me.
meters, mate.
Yeah, please tell me.
378 to DCE and 488. So over 100, over 114
And
meters.
in a rugby league match, that is humongous.
But who had more impact on the game?
That's exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly.
I was just saying, like I'd love to see a coach outside of them win it. Just someone new. It'd be good.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see a Webster, a
Be nice to
Payton, a
pick.
Dimitreo.
It must be a club outside of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It'd be great.
And can I just,
nice to see.
to your point, I said that South's going to win the comp.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
Still, I'm,
So
still,
you never know.
I'm still hoping that something clicks. But what I saw, I was very disappointed.
Yeah.
Very disappointed.
And Webster looks like he's a very smart coach. So he would have learnt so much after last
Well,
year.
everybody's saying, all the experts are saying that they might miss the 8. Let me suggest to you, not only they're going to make the 8, they'll be top 2.
Which team's at the Warriors?
Yeah.
But can I just say something? Like you're giving South a lot of rope.
I'm giving him a lot of rope. Yeah, I am.
But
I'm still giving him rope.
Manly have a good game and you're calling them March premiers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because of what I've seen. Whoa, wait. Let me make it very clear when I say something how I base it on.
Yeah.
From history. What I've seen the last 2-3 years.
What
Now,
did
when I say Luke Brooks had 3 good things and done 3 bad things, I've seen that the last 10 years from Lukey.
Yeah.
So I've seen nothing. What I've seen is players around him a higher quality, and he looks better. But him personally, I've seen nothing different.
What have you seen the last 2 years from South?
Rubbish last year. I'm giving him rub. I'm just giving him rub because what's on paper.
Yeah.
Exactly. Paper looks good.
Because
a very good team on paper.
No disrespect on paper. Well, there's Manly's on the same conversation.
There's a lot more stars in South.
Okay,
Yeah.
so all I'm saying is what I've seen from Manly. Look, in the next month, if they keep on performing like that, well, I'll come on air and say they're looking the goods. But I saw what they done on Saturday or Sunday. What they done on Sunday, I saw 3 or 4 times last year.
Yeah.
I remember a brutal game they played against Melbourne and a brutal game they played against the Dogs. So look, I've seen this, but I haven't seen it for 22 rounds.
I think it's very important that we add context into it. Because we can talk about Brooks based on the last 10 years, but he's in a new club now, a new system. It's different.
New system, people around.
Whether or not, is he the cordial? We used to refer to these players as cordial, right? Where you put a drop in the bottle and the whole bottle changes colour. So whether he goes there and affects the whole team around him in a negative
I
way,
don't think so.
that's going to be real bad. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping he's away from where all the pressure was, and now he's in an environment where Cherry Evans carries that game control, game management pressure.
And can I say, Cherry was brilliant.
And I just think, we just got to add a little bit of context. South, it's the same team on paper as last year. They've added Jack Whiten, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have to go better than they did last year. Because that was the biggest capitulation I've seen in mid-season.
Nico, I'm going to say it here, round 1. If he doesn't make top 4 and is in the conversation, Dimitri's got to get sacked.
Nah, it's a bit harsh. Yeah.
Why?
Look on paper what he's got. Okay, what will Bennett do? Oh, that's right, win a comp with that team.
Napoli's on their 3rd coach this season.
Easy, are they?
Don't worry about Syria,
Really?
mate. They sack players.
and he's not going to be the coach for next season. So
What's up there
And
now?
it'll
Napoli
be
won the
5
comp.
coaches in 12 months.
And Napoli won the comp last year. They're the current champions. All right.
Sorry, Arthur.
That's okay.
Go on.
No, I got some mail from Spam Mail.
Hey, who's up? Who's up?
Chuck from Vegas. Chucky. Yeah.
Chucky's
He was
back.
at the game. Yeah, he
What'd
reckons,
he
he
say?
reckons he could hear everything. He reckons he could hear the players.
Yeah.
And he said NRL players are so friendly with each other. He goes, so much so that one of them asked another player if he wanted to go to the zoo with him to see some monkeys. Come on, Chuck. Chucky.
What are you doing, Chuck?
Mate, the Kafusi brothers are looking for him now.
Mate.
And Sachin, the Uber driver. We sent him to
Sash
Vegas.
there?
Yeah, we sent him to Vegas,
No
mate.
way.
Remember, he told you he was going.
Oh, Chuck, imagine the bill.
So he rang me at 6:30 on Sunday, and he was at Vegas. Apparently, it's a Vegas club in New Delhi. It's in Karakapura. He just doesn't get nothing right, that bloke. He's hopeless.
Oh, God.
But one thing I want to give you
gotta
guys an
find a
update
new
on
one.
is we did our tips.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just looking at the table, it's only 2 games in, and we're all sitting on 1. We're all got a 50% record.
Oh,
at the
really?
moment.
There you go.
Nico got the Manly game right, and me and you got the Roosters game right. So at the end of round,
I really thought the Broncos were going to win that game. I really did. Yeah.
at the end of round 0, it's 1 each.
Have you
At the end of round 0.
have you got Manoli's Players of the Year?
I do actually. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah, sorry. At the moment, we've got Manoli who's rating our players.
Yeah, that's going to grow good.
So that's going to be good. At the end of the year, they get a silver. They get a whole lamb on the spit,
whole
which is going to
lamb.
be all done by his
Manolis,
wife Dimitreo, and it should be good.
And is that for the end of the year party for
End
the
of
boys?
the year, mate, for the best player of the year.
Can't wait.
So he's 3-2-1 for the Manly Rabbitohs game. He's given number 3 points to Tommy Turbo for his 180 metres, all the effort that he put through.
Yeah.
Number 2, he gave it to Olaquadu.
Oh, Kawadu.
Because guess what?
What's that?
He did exactly the same metres as Turbo, 180 metres. That's a pretty big effort. I thought he was enormous, actually. He was probably the best forward on the field.
Yeah.
He was great. And he gave 1 point. I don't know why he did this because he's a Rooster supporter, but he gave a point to Latrell because he said
Latrell.
2 try assists, 2 line break assists, 1 try. He thought
He was good.
he was dangerous when he had the
DC missed
ball,
out.
so he gave it to him.
Gee,
So at the moment, we've got Tommy Turbo on
That's a
3.
good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
For his beloved Roosters, he gave the 3-2-1. 3 points went to Teddy, obviously,
Yeah, of
for
course.
182 metres, 61 PCMs, 1 line break, try assist. Mate, he was enormous. Number 2 went to Manu,
Yep. Absolutely.
and number 1 went to the hitman, Victor Radley.
Actually, he was outstanding.
outstanding.
He was outstanding.
He was
was.
tossing up and he was going, should I put Victor Radley at 2 or Manu? But that flick pass at the end, I think,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
won.
yeah.
Listen, what I deem from that is that he's a good judge of rugby league, Manoli.
He is.
I thought he knew had no idea at all. And let me address Victor. He's adjusted his game after a few years of issues, and if he keeps on doing what he did on the weekend, my godfather.
Yeah.
My godfather.
Yeah.
Well, he'll be in the conversation for Dally M. I'm
Yeah,
telling you now.
exactly, man. I had to explain it to him because initially he had Kurt Sherlock, but I told him we're looking at current games because he's looking at the old games on the NRL. So look at the
Manoli.
current games, Manoli. So he's got a good judge.
He's a
actually,
good judge.
He's
Go
actually good.
Manoli. Go Manoli. Good stuff.
Paying attention. He's
He
actually
is. I can't wait. It's going to be interesting all year.
yeah. So we've got
Hey,
Tommy and Teddy at the.
Are we splitting games up, or are you going to do more this weekend?
Yeah, he's going to do them all.
Yeah, is he?
Yeah,
I was
he's
gonna say,
committed.
Nico can do the Parramatta one.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's,
No. You can do more. You're
No,
welcome. You're
Manoli, I
welcome.
told many. Manoli's going.
There's a lot of
sick.
games
He's
to
going
watch.
through all of them. So
If quick question. If there's one thing I hate, it's before the season even starts, they're talking about the origin teams.
oh no.
If we're picking them today, is it Teddy or Turbo?
Teddy's the incumbent.
Or Latrell?
Teddy's the incumbent. You pick and stick, and then they'll put Turbo and
So we'll have 3
Latrell
fullbacks
at
on
the centre.
field,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Maguire's different. He's not Fittler. So I've got no idea how Maguire's going to go with this.
But based on the form we saw, because all 3 played over the
Oh,
weekend,
if we had to choose?
I'd pick Teddy
Yeah.
based on what I saw over the weekend.
You can't.
Well,
You can't.
I know he's the incumbent captain, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying based on purely form alone, I'd tip Teddy.
Yeah, me
Latrell
too.
would be suspended for his forearm.
What's Bennett's theory? You pick your best 17?
Yeah.
Yeah.
him
Well,
in.
Teddy can't play centre. These 2 can. Latrell and Trebojevic can. So you put them in
Well,
the
I
centres.
suggest to you that Tommy won't play Origin this year. He'll do the right thing and play
Let's hope,
full season for Manly.
He said that wouldn't be the case last season.
Really?
but at
Yeah,
the end
exactly.
of last season.
Well, you know what? If he's, you know what? I'm not gonna say that. He's a good human being. He's been paid a lot of money for potential because we saw 1 year out of his 6 years, we saw 1 good year, which got a Dally M, and we know what he can do. So he's going to pay it back. He's going to pay it back for Manly, and he's going to have a full season. because Manly will be in the conversation at the end of the year. So he'll do the right thing.
More spam mail, Artie?
That's it for
Was
me.
that
mate.
it? That's it?
Yeah.
Let's move on to our crystal ball segment and look at the weekend that's coming, right?
Okay, yeah.
So round 1 kicks off this Thursday night with the Newcastle Knights hosting the Canberra Raiders. Who are we tipping?
Now that's at McDonald's Stadium, Thursday night, 8 o'clock.
The Knights are the favourites at $1.41, Raiders $2.93.
Do you know who's in and out with injuries?
No, I think we'll know on Wednesday.
We haven't got team lists.
Yeah.
It's only Monday
Tomorrow.
night. So.
I'm just more concerned about the injuries. I know.
Yeah.
Kalen's in, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And all three halves are fit. You've got the control freak and everyone else. So
It's going to be interesting how it's going to drop. And I heard Price is going to be in either on the wing or in the centre. So somehow Will Price made the team, the run-on team. They were talking about him. When I spoke to someone last week, I thought he was going to be in the Reggies, but no, they're going to put him straight in the team. And Carl Pearce-Paul is going to be in the Reggies. So I don't know what's happening there.
I know Ricky loves being underestimated, but I just really see them struggling this season with the personnel they have.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm going to go the Knights just on last year. I think.
Oh no, the Knights.
Ponga's there.
Yeah,
The Knights win and win well, Artie.
When Ponga's playing, they don't really.
They've got half a good season.
Yeah, that's it.
By the way, the ground's been sold out for a week
Really?
before.
Good stuff.
So
that's Newcastle for you, isn't
Newcastle,
it? Yeah.
So we all going Knights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
So the following day on Friday, this Friday, the 8th of March, the first game kicking off at 6 p.m. is the New Zealand Warriors hosting the Cronulla Sharks. Warriors are heavy favourites at $1.51, Sharks $2.58. I'll go with the home team here, the Warriors.
I'm going Warriors, yeah.
That's about right. First game back in New Zealand, big crowd.
Sean Johnson's fit, there's no issues.
Sean's going to play, and let's hope Sean is 80% as good as he was last year, because he's my favourite for the
great year.
Dally M, and I think he
should have won it.
I think he got robbed.
Yeah.
And Cronulla will be good, and they will be good. It'll be a tight match, but I think the Wars will get up.
The return of Tavasashek too, eh?
Oh,
And how's Fanil Blake going to play against his future club?
Yeah.
he'll rip it. He'll rip it.
Yeah.
Actually, Tuvasashek, that's a huge one.
That's
Looking forward to seeing that.
Huge.
Yeah. Warriors for me, mate. I'm
Wait,
going
wait,
Warriors.
wait till he learns to play rugby league again.
Guys, we're all agreeing. This isn't
So we're all Warriors again.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Not next one.
I tell you what, the next one is an absolute doozy at 8:05 p.m. Friday night. The Melbourne Storm hosting the Penrith Panthers.
I heard a sneaky rumour. Josephina, she's got her ear to the ground.
What's Josephina got for us?
No, a serious one. I heard that Cameron Munster is not 100%.
Yeah.
There's a sort of iffy one. If he's out, that makes a huge difference for me.
And
they've re-signed that youngster, Falogo,
Yeah.
5 years.
Ooh.
They've extended him 5 years.
So
He's
Pen-
special.
Penrith are obviously the favourites at $1.72, but Storm aren't far away at $2.12.
Yeah. And Bellamy doesn't lose first rounds.
He only has, I believe, once in his entire career.
I'm
He-
going Storm.
He started in 2003, so that's 21 years. So he's only lost one first round game in 21 years.
Wow.
I'm going Storm.
But history means nothing when the whistle goes.
That's
True.
That's true.
And it's at Melbourne too. So
Penrith kind of had a slow start last season.
Yeah,
too,
they
didn't
did. Yeah. Good time to play him.
It is. You know what? I'll go for Storm, but I'll call it an upset.
Yeah.
I'll go for the Storm.
I'm Storm too.
Oh, wow. We're all the same.
Oh, Bellamy doesn't lose first rounds.
Jerome Luai's not back, is he?
No, I don't think so.
No.
And Stephen
couple more
Crichton's out
weeks.
too.
Yeah,
Forever.
forever. I watched them.
Yeah, good game.
I watched them on Fox watching the grand final again. You know, when they sit on the couch. Watch it, please, and you'll
they're good. Those. Yeah.
You'll understand what they think about Critter and some key moments. They point out key moments. I mean, we all saw Cleary do what he did, but wait till they explain what Critter did and how he kept them in the game. You'll be amazed.
I know, but so much of that is easy to do after the fact.
But he did it.
You know,
he actually physically did it.
Whoever the people who win the war get to rewrite history the way they want you to read it.
Yeah, but
you know,
we always have this discussion.
no, but it's like you were saying last week about how Cleary builds the game. He builds the game. It was 20 minutes to go. They were behind, so he wasn't building shit.
No, he was having a shocker.
So I don't understand. So now it's easy to look back and say.
But wait a minute. What I saw was a guy taking the game by the balls. Okay,
Yeah.
and I didn't see another halfback on the other side, nor number 6 when the chips were down. I saw a number 7 and a number 4 and 2 front rows take the last 20 minutes, take the balls by their hand and rip them out of the other guy's body. So that's what I saw.
I saw what you didn't see.
What was that? I lost.
I saw the other 7 and 6 implode. That's what I saw.
Yeah, but they did. No, I'm not saying they didn't do it, but someone has to win the game. Someone had to win the game, Nicola. That's what I'm trying to say. Someone had to win the game. Because you know what?
When they hand you a possession in your own half.
Yeah, but I've seen a lot.
Why would you say they imploded?
They did implode. Of course they imploded.
They put him in a good position. And then
They stopped playing.
it's up to the defenders to defend the lead man.
Yeah, but they
It's
stopped
like
playing.
in soccer, you
They
score
stopped
2
playing.
goals, you want your defenders to hold it out.
Yeah, but
and if
they
they
ca-
can't do it,
they
you can't
stopped
blame the
playing.
guys who scored the goals.
I've seen the game. I've seen the game made
I'm
times.
saying the Brisbane team, they made a lot of defensive errors in that last
Exactly,
team. They
but-
handed the ball back. They kicked the ball out in the full from a dropout. And Penrith were good enough, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what
So,
I'm saying.
you know,
That's what I'm saying. They're good enough to do because a lot of times people hand the ball back
I think
and do nothing.
Brisbane cracked under the pressure of trying to defend the lead in the last 15, 20 minutes.
I don't disagree there.
Yeah.
But you still got to take. Still got to take the game because 15 behind.
I know, but I'm just saying it's after you win it, it's always easier to sit there
it is.
and say, oh, yeah, but in the 20th minute, I was thinking this. You know, no, that's not what you were thinking at all. But anyway,
Yeah.
moving along, because we have this argument every time we talk about it.
Yeah.
And
game?
we had to argue about something because we've agreed on every game so far.
know.
Come on, man.
I know.
The next game we're going to be at, it is a good
Yes.
chance we might not be
Yes.
talking to each other after this one, right?
We'll be talking.
Right,
Bloody
so-
Karen.
One of you
What a
guys will be on
Karen
2 points.
No, it's Parramatta Eels, Saturday afternoon at 5:30, hosting the Canterbury Bulldogs. Parramatta favourites at $1.47, Bulldogs outsiders at $2.71. We'll be there.
Yeah,
What do
can't
you
wait.
Interesting, man. That is interesting.
Yeah, what a great occasion. And Canterbury's got Parramatta at a good time, depleted.
We're not depleted.
in disarray.
No,
Parramatta in
Seebo's missing.
disarray.
Seebo's missing.
Let me be funny.
Oh, all right, yeah.
In disarray, they can't make up their mind for hooker. So the messages are not coming from the top there. And look, it's good not to get flogged, but on this occasion there'll be a victory in hand and two early points for the Dogs.
You made a good
2 early
point.
points for the Dogs.
You made a good point there because I said it to you last week and the week before. I said that teams who are a month or two out from round one and still haven't decided on some key positions, that's never a good sign. Well, that's the case with Parramatta as well, with the number 9.
But Thing's going to play there, isn't he? What's his name? Lussick.
We don't really know. And I can guarantee you, whoever plays there might not necessarily be there in a month either. So I just think it's that. I think it's that one area that they're still undecided on.
Maybe.
And that's just to be undecided on any member of your spine going into the season is never good for anyone. Are they catching Parramatta at a good time? Well, they might be based on what we saw last season. Parramatta started very badly. They won 1 out of their first 5 games. Canterbury, it's a whole different looking team, a good looking team, but they haven't played together, right?
No,
They're playing a team that's been together for quite a while, and the spine is pretty much locked in with
Outstanding spine.
with the exception of Hooker. I'd expect Parramatta to win this game,
Yeah.
but being a Parramatta supporter,
disarray. They're
I'm a lot
disarray.
smarter than that, and anything's possible. Believe me.
They're in disarray, Nicola.
So who you tipping, mate?
I'll tip them because I want to,
He's a believer.
Yeah.
No,
He's a
well,
believer.
I don't tip as a fan, by the way. I tip against my team all the time.
Yeah.
But I just think if this team's going to be half decent this year and if they are going to make the finals, these are the games they have to win.
Yeah, and I think the same way.
And the Bulldogs will be a much better team 3 months from now. They simply a lot of this team has not played together yet, and the ones who have didn't have a good season. So they're against a team that's, probably 70% the same team that played in the grand final, thereabouts,
Yeah,
or
at least.
or at least
At least
in the last
70%.
couple of years.
It's probably 80%.
So you would expect some kind of continuity there from the Eels, but again, they're so unpredictable. Who knows? But look, I'm going to go with the home side for this one. Artie?
I'm going to go the Eels.
Oh, you're
only-
dogging me.
No, sorry, buddy. I think the Eels pack and the halves have got yous. Your outside backs are probably out better than the Eel backs, but I think the forward pack is
We've got to
just
go
going to
forward.
smash
I
yous.
agree.
Madison, Polo, no, they got it all over yous, mate.
They have got us all over, but not
And the halves,
on that night.
Mitch Moses too.
Oh, gee, Mitch. Don't mention Mitch, please. I
Mitch
love
and
that guy.
Dylan Brown's. I think this is going to be Dylan Brown's big year.
I
He's going to be
agree.
a standout. He needs to repay back last year, so he's the type of guy that I think will. He looks like a good kid who's.
Adi, he'll start repaying next week, not this week.
Yeah, I just can't see the Eels.
One more week.
And because it's at home as well. It's at,
The Eels are just a difficult team to predict.
yeah.
But
When
again,
they're at home, they're better.
Who's
aren't they?
taking Suvo's spot? Joking aside,
I think it'll be Hayes Dunster.
Hayes Hudson.
He hasn't played a lot of footy in the last 2 years because of injury as well.
Oh, that's right.
But Parramatta are very thin with depth in the outside backs.
Who's the centre? I know you got Penasini and who's the other?
Simonson.
Simonson. Actually, Simonson's very good.
I like
He's
Simonson.
solid.
I
Yeah,
think
he's
they're
solid.
solid.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good battle.
I don't think he matches up with Stephen Crichton. I don't think any of the backs do.
Is he on that side?
I
So
think
Crichton
so.
plays
I think so.
left.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, that one.
And Will Penasini's a good centre as well. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and the next game after that at 7:35 is the Gold Coast Titans hosting the St George Dragons. Flanagan's first game in charge
Flanagan's first game.
it's not a trial. The Gold Coast are favourites at $1.52 with St George at $2.55.
They should be.
Strange.
The,
No, I
the
disagree.
Titans should be
I
favourites.
disagree.
Des
They've
Hasler, I should mention, also making his debut coach as a Gold Coast coach.
It's a challenge, eh? Flano versus Desi.
Yeah.
Good buddy.
Both coming back.
Two former premiership winners.
Spin. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a cracking game. I'm a hoodoo guy, and St George don't have a good record in Titans. We even when we're going good, we struggle in Gold Coast. I know Flano has made a huge difference. I'm looking forward to this. I was really impressed with the Tigers game, but it was just a trial. It was Tigers. But in saying that, Titans team isn't bad. It's pretty strong as well, and Desi's going to have them primed. I'm only tipping Titans because it's at home, so I'm going to stick with the Titans, mate.
I think
I'll go with the Titans.
I think there'll be a shock on the Saturday on the was that Southeast Queensland, Nicola.
Oh, really?
I think the St George forwards will be too much, and the physicality will be too much for the
Big Tino. Come on, mate.
Tino.
The feeder's out, by the way.
They'll bury Tino, and the backs backs won't operate for.
Well, there's no pressure on the Dragons
No pressure at all.
because the expectation for this game is on the Gold Coast.
Absolutely, they're the star-studded team, but I think that
Brimson's in the centres. Campbell's out.
the ball won't get there because the forwards won't be going forward. St George's forwards will dominate them.
Oh, okay, I hope so.
They're a humongous pack, and there'll be a first shock, and there'll be an early warning shot over the bow for Flano.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Well, I hope you're right about it being the first shot because that keeps Parramatta safe. It's a beautiful stadium. Have you guys been there?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
but I want to
Yeah, it's
go.
good.
I want to go.
I was
You've
there
been
for a
there.
concert, not a footy game, but it was a really, really nice stadium.
Might get up there.
And then on Sunday, we have the last game closing out round one. I have to call them just the Dolphins, who are hosting the North Queensland Cowboys. Dolphins outsiders at $2.74. Cowboys the favourites at $1.46. I'm going to go the Cowboys.
Where are they playing?
Dolphins, mate. Suncorp.
In Redcliffe. Or is that at Suncorp?
No, it's just Suncorp Stadium.
Okay,
on here, yeah. Wow.
I'm a believer. I'm a Cowboy believer this year. It's on paper, it's almost as good as the Roosters team. So I'm going nice and early for the Cowboys.
Cowboys have got a really bad habit of starting slow. Even last year they started slow. Even the year they made the finals, they lost to Bulldogs 6-4. Remember that game? That was a real dour game. Slow starters. Dolphins, on the other hand, are pretty quick starters. They lost Tim Gilbert again.
Yeah, for the season, isn't it?
God, yeah, he's out for the season.
Can't believe it. Poor guy.
I'm going to go the Cowboys, but not very confident at all. They're just a very slow starting team, but a very good team.
They're a good team.
They're a very good team. Outstanding, actually. So it looks like we're all going to go the Cowboys.
Yeah. And that closes out round one. And we're going to need some intro music, George, for the next segment. George Tidbits.
Oh, the tidbits. That's good stuff. Nicola, the year in the year in the spotlight is 2001. That year, Adi
I
and
think
myself.
I hear my phone ringing. I've got to leave the room.
That year, Adi and myself had children. I had 2. Adi had another one, and
We decided to call one the same name.
we called one the same name, and the boy wonder was born as well. So we all know how old the boy wonder is now. At that time, the prime minister of the day was John Howard. Do you remember that?
Johnny Howard.
Johnny Howard.
I love Johnny Howard.
That
Apparently, he got caught and he got held up at the airport smuggling guinea pigs in his eyebrows.
I didn't know that. That's good. The top 8 that year, Nicola, was Parramatta with 42, the Dogs with 37, the Knights 33, Sharks made the top 4 with 32. Then the bottom 4 was the Broncos 29, the Roosters were 27, Saints squeezed in with 26. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yep. And New Zealand, the same points, for and against, 26. Do you remember who won the Dally M that year?
2001.
Yeah. His son, I think, is playing for the
Wow.
Andrew Johns.
no, his son is playing for that South East Queensland team.
Oh.
Preston Campbell.
Preston Campbell.
Oh, there you go.
Preston Campbell got the Dally
Who
M.
was he playing for?
Who?
Preston Campbell.
At the time would have been because it was Sharks and
That's a good idea. It would have been the Sharks with them, wouldn't it?
was it? That's a good question. I'll have a look.
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Hmm.
He didn't go to New Zealand, did he?
Did he play for Penrith? I can't remember.
He did play. He
He
have a
did.
steal. He did have a steal. Penrith, but Penrith didn't make the 8. So that Penrith, who came last that year?
I'm not sure.
Penrith.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Penrith came last that year. The top point scorer was Andrew Johns and Ben Walker.
Andrew Johnson, Ben Walker.
Andrew Johnson back.
And Andrew
Walker.
Johns missed a big chunk of the season too.
he did,
he had a
didn't he?
blinder of a season, I remember.
Top try scorer? You should know.
Brett Morris.
Blacklock.
Blacklock.
Matt Cooper.
Nathan,
Blacklock.
Nathan Blacklock.
Blacklock.
Oh, yeah. He did it 3 years in a row, didn't he?
Yeah.
He scored.
Well, with 27 tries that year.
Yeah. He
And
never picked for Origin,
no, so he shouldn't have.
like Alex Johnson.
So he shouldn't have. And the Clive Churchill, of course, Andrew Johns. Now that year was a special year because Parramatta broke nearly every record. They scored 839 points, the most of any team, and I don't think that's been.
And it just wasn't even a great team. It just clicked something. When you had Michael Butner and Jason Taylor in the halves, I mean,
Wow.
it just clicked.
When you put it that way.
There were no superstars in that team.
No, there
I
wasn't.
mean, Hindmarsh, a young Hindmarsh.
What was your thoughts about that season, beside the grand
Oh,
final?
well, obviously it was a great season.
Yous beat
But there was no expectation at the start of it. It just grew into something.
Luke
fun.
Bird.
The grand final was obviously very
Luke Bird.
disappointing.
Yeah, Luke Bird. Well, in the prelim, Nicola, you beat Brisbane 24-16. What's your recollection of that game?
I remember it clearly because we beat them in the first semi-final in '98
Mm.
and then lost to Canterbury
Okay.
because I thought I would have been confident playing the Broncos again in the grand final had we made it that year.
Yeah.
They ended up beating Canterbury in the grand final that year. '99, I think we lost to Melbourne, who went on to win it a week or two later.
Oh, no more.
2000, I really don't remember what happened.
The other prelim, Newcastle beat the Sharks 18-10. I can't remember that game.
Yeah, I don't.
So we had the.
But that grand final was just a classic Brian Smith team. They came out unprepared.
Unprepared.
Yeah, it happened 4 times.
What I understand was during that week, Brian Smith was texting everybody and really unsettled everybody. And
Did he?
yeah, and at the grand final breakfast, Andrew Johns turns to Matthew Johns and says, "They're off. They're worried," and they actually believed from that minute that they were they were going to win the game. That's what they say.
That's another one of those war stories that happens after the fact.
That was a good Newcastle team. Was it Robbie O'Davis? Was he
That was a good team.
Was he the fullback?
Yeah.
And then
the guy who got suspended for 18 months for taking performance-enhancing drugs. Yeah, that's him.
But still.
And the guy that was at the lock, what was his name? He ended up
Ben Kennedy.
Ben Kennedy went to Manly. He was
He's
fantastic. It was a bloody good side.
That
Matt
team.
Parsons, I think it was.
Ended up being 30-24.
Yeah.
Game, yeah.
It was 24-0 or something at half time.
I think it was 20-0 or 24-0.
24-0, I think it was.
And
Massive.
did Parramatta come back, or did Newcastle put the kill in the rack?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
Para were unlucky a couple of times in the first half, held up over the try line and things like that. But Newcastle blew them away. They were much better.
And was it Johns blew?
It wasn't the same Para side.
Yeah.
Johns was great. They were all great. Kennedy was great. It wasn't the same Parramatta side. They choked.
McDougall.
Look, whatever Brian Smith did during the week
was wrong.
I remember actually Paul Kent told a story about the grand final week where he said he observed that he saw both teams at the grand final breakfast and Newcastle were very loose and just enjoying the event and Parramatta were all just uptight.
Yeah.
And, it comes, same thing happened 2 years ago when Parramatta made the grand final. And I told you this when it happened, which was days before the game, when I heard at the start of the week that Brad Arthur had said, this week's just going to be normal for us. There's no captain's run at the stadium. Everyone make their own way to the game. There's no camp.
I can't believe that.
Penrith went into camp for the week, right? Parramatta didn't go into camp. Everyone stayed home and drove themselves to the game. And what did I say to you?
Yeah, you smelled a rat.
I mean, this is actually ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, this is, you got to get everyone into camp and G them up. This is going to be one on emotion, not anything else.
Yes.
And if I know that, how can he not know that? And Brian Smith,
that was his third grand final. So you think he'd know better.
Brian Smith is a really good coach.
I think
right?
so.
But
I think so.
there's an old saying. It's like, if I get dumped 5 times, they can't all be bitches. I'm doing something wrong. You know what I mean?
I urge you, or both of you guys, to listen to the interview that a friend of the pod, the Paracave, Troy has done with Brian. And he lays it all out on the table.
What do you say?
And you will, I can't remember, but I understand it clarified my thoughts about him and what type of coach he is. And I thought he was this type of coach, and it just crystallised it. He's this way. Now, you might listen to it, you might not pick it up. You listen to it, maybe you will like what he says. But
again, 20-something years later, it will tell you what he wants you to know.
Maybe, but there must have been some recollections.
Is that what he was thinking at the time?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think it's a little bit different with the two St. George grand finals because they came up against the red-hot Broncos outfit that I don't think anyone was going to beat. So that with Parramatta, I think it was more of an implosion. And with the Roosters...
But we finished minor premiers in the second one this year.
Usually specials.
It's just but the Broncos have specials.
They did that. But so did Newcastle. They had a good team too.
Yeah, they did. They did. And Brian Smith, his fourth grand final was with the Roosters, who won the wooden spoon the season before. And he got him to the big GF against the Dragons.
Yeah.
The Dragons did score a try with Morris stepping about 3 metres over the sideline, which the video ref somehow didn't pick up. Not that decided it, but it happened, So he hasn't actually had the rub of the green either.
He's been unlucky.
And on that note, the player in profile is Matthew Gidley. Just for...
And I forgot another player we didn't mention that was part of that
Matthew
team.
Gidley.
Great player. Mr. Utility. Played anywhere.
That's right.
He was predominantly a centre, wasn't he?
A centre,
He was a great player. I like him.
Who was born in...
Isn't he their CEO now?
Oh, yeah.
Or something like that.
I think he was
CFO or something.
Yeah. Well, he was born 1977 in Newcastle, a real Newcastle boy. And I went trying to find stuff on him. I was digging, and there's not much to find. He's just a good human being who loves playing.
There's two brothers, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's Matthew Gidley
and Kurt Gidley.
Which
one are you
brother.
talking about?
Matthew. The one in that team.
Was he in the centre?
He was in the centre.
I
was talking about the other one, 5'8".
Can I really be controversial? The one player I didn't like out of that team was Danny Badiris.
What?
Why?
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Because no one actually remembers this. But at that time, throughout that whole season, Brad Drew was a much, much better hooker.
Yeah, I
than
remember
he
Badger.
was.
I remember Badger.
And it
Badger
was
was
all
great, yeah.
and it was all over them at that time, not for his whole career. And it was all over the media during Origin. And Andrew Johns was asking the selectors to pick Badiris because of his combination with him, which they did, and they never looked back.
Of course, yeah. Okay, that's wrong if they did that.
They think it still doesn't happen.
I'm sure it does. Get back to Matthew Gidley, Australian schoolboy. He played at 5'8". He was a 5'8" at juniors, but when he got graded at Newcastle, they put him straight in the centres. 2001, that year, Nicola, he went on a kangaroo tour. And if you remember, he had a deadly combination with a winger called Timana Tahu.
Yes.
If you remember that flick pass that I don't know if he invented,
did it quite
but
often.
He did it very often. He made it in vogue, and everybody who does flick pass always calls it a Gidley. So he brought that in vogue.
Everyone forgets that. They usually call it a Benji, but they forget about Gidley.
We forget about Gidley.
Gidley did it quite consistently.
And he played for Newcastle, St Helens. We know he played for Australia, New South Wales, and the country team. At St Helens, when he went, he actually covered himself in glory. He won 3 Super League titles and 1 Challenge Cup. Yeah, so they've got him in St Helens' team of the century. That's how highly they think of him. And you're right, Nicola. He's a business development manager, and he was the CEO of the Knights. I think he's not a CEO of the Knights now.
How do you go from a BDM to CEO? That's quite a step, isn't it?
It is.
But
Look, so you know.
I went searching, I went looking, and maybe I should have done the chief, but there wasn't too much to find on Gids, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Great
why.
player.
That's why
he never put a foot wrong in terms of
just one of those
off
good
the field or anything. Yeah.
Just one of those good players, solid players who went to England, and you expect him to do really well. Who's just a Newcastle boy, born and bred in Newcastle.
His brother was a really good player too.
He's good, yeah. And for some reason, I would always have arguments with Dad, because remember how he was captain off the bench.
Yeah,
remember that?
That was unusual.
But
That was
I think
weird.
Kurt Gidley's era with Newcastle was with a much weaker Newcastle. Gidley was in 2 premiership winning sides, or 1.5 if you count the ARL Super League war.
Yeah.
But Kurt was. I think he was in a weaker side.
And he was a utility. Yeah,
He was utility. I think he found his home at 6.
But
center,
fullback.
Lock,
good player, though.
Walker.
Very good player.
Hooker.
Very good player.
Yeah,
Very
both
good,
of them were.
Yeah.
Let's just touch on the Super League. I mentioned before about how Wigan walked into the stadium with all their silverware, which they're carrying 3 at the moment. Current world champions, Nicola. I'm not going to...
They are.
Yeah, current world champions.
Can't take it off them.
Best rugby league team in the world, apparently.
They are.
I just thought I'll mention the teams that we support or we follow, and in next month I'll start spitting out the table. Wigan went to Huddersfield, Nicola, and they scored 30, and Huddersfield scored only 16. So they really did a job on Huddersfield. My team, Nicola, or the team
George,
that I fancy.
Sorry, just quickly, with Huddersfield, who's in that team that we know? Any Aussies in that team?
There is actually. That's not Sam's team.
Oh, it's not Sam's?
That's not Sam's
Which
team,
ones?
no.
Oh, okay. Which one? Do you know any? Which offhand? No. Okay.
Yeah, I can't
Can
remember.
you just next time? Can you just write?
When I watch all the games, I
that'd be
write all
good.
the Aussies. You
Just-
know what? There's some Aussies like the fullback for Wigan, which I didn't even know was Australian. Field, whatever his name is.
Jay Field.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was Australian.
St George and Para.
I didn't realise that they. You know what I mean?
Para had Field and the other guy. What's his name?
But
Bevan French.
Bevan French.
yeah. But I'll write the Australian players in their teams from now on.
Mm-hmm.
The team that I fancy for the Premiership, Nicola, the Catalans Dragons, they visited the Lead Rhinos. Unfortunately, Lead Rhinos scored 18 and they only scored 10.
See?
And there was a real boil over. The crowd went off their rockers, and it felt like a boil over. And Dragons were actually pretty disappointing. And St Helens, that is our favourite team.
Georgie's tipping the Dragons to win the comp.
There you go.
Oh, yeah?
See?
Yeah. Damn, the difference is they all
Wrong
speak
Dragons.
French, they don't speak English, but still. And it's funny because they're all mic'd up. So in Super League, you know how we had at the Vegas game, the referee talking to the crowd about decisions. Well, that's what they do in Super League. But the added caveat is that players come up and they speak to the ref and they leave it on.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's how I heard the French guy say, "We play rugby league, no?" Okay, and it's just really interesting. Yeah, it's really no. That was after that hit.
After the hit,
Was that
Ceebs hit.
the Tarek Sims hit?
So the Ceebs hit.
It was a beautiful tackle.
It was beautiful, and the game went on, and he must have got a whisper, and he sent him off, and Garcia, the captain for Catalans, comes on. He goes, "What this for?" He goes, "Dangerous tackle." He goes,
What was dangerous about it?
I don't know, but he goes, "We played rugby league, no?"
It was, no. It was a beautiful hit. Perfectly legal.
He got sent off.
How many weeks is he serving?
He came back on. He was sent off 10 minutes.
No, but is he suspended?
No, he wasn't.
Oh,
He
good.
got 10 minutes.
You can't suspend him for that. You shouldn't have even.
But it
got
wasn't
sent.
high.
You don't know.
It was under the ribs, wasn't it?
Wow.
Yeah, it was a good tackle. It's a great tackle. It just looked messy. And Adi's favourite there, Nicolas St. Helens. They went. They visited the Pods team, Lee Leopards, and they're not looking good. The Lee Leopards. They've lost their hooker for the season, and they just look depleted. Matty Moylan's gone there, and Matty Moylan looks like Matty Moylan.
Yeah.
Plays good today, doesn't play good tomorrow. St. Helens scored 12, and unfortunately, Leopards only scored 4 points.
Wow, low scoring.
Yeah.
Defense.
Oh, but St. Helens was on top all game.
No.
They were smashing them.
Yeah, can
Their
I
attack
just,
isn't
I
good,
just
man.
thought of something when you were talking about Matt Moylan. Penrith, before they'd won anything, Ivan Cleary got rid of Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, Matt Moylan, Bryce Cartwright, Regan Campbell-Gillard, and everyone was thinking, like, what are you doing? Well, he knew exactly what he was doing.
He knew what was coming up,
Yeah.
In the year 2001, Nicola, do you remember what we were listening to in terms of music?
Oh,
Song of the week.
Song of the
yes
week.
and no.
Okay, this is the top 4.
I mean, I do.
This is the top 4, and there's the top of songs that or artists we probably wouldn't listen to, but this were the 4 songs of the year which sold the most.
Yeah.
Can't Fight the Moonlight by Leanne Rimes.
Leanne Rimes. Yes, that was from the movie.
My wife's,
That was from
One of Adi's favourite, actually.
where she's singing on the bar. She's walking
Yeah.
along the. What was the movie?
Was
you know
it
what I'm talking about?
the Australian was in it.
Cowgirls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Coyote
Coyote Ugly.
Ugly,
Yeah, that's it.
Coyote Ugly.
See, I do remember that.
DJ
Can't
Bobo
fight
in
the
there?
moonlight.
No?
I'm not going to sing.
Is DJ Bobo in there?
No, unfortunately not. But we do have Shaggy. Shaggy was it wasn't him.
Wasn't
Was
it?
refusing? It wasn't him.
It wasn't no Carolina.
Oh.
That was earlier.
No, it was this one. It wasn't me. It
Oh,
wasn't him. He
it
didn't
wasn't
do
me,
it.
the
Didn't
song.
do it. Didn't happen. So
Yeah.
it wasn't him.
It wasn't
Shaggy.
me. Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
An Australian made the top 4. Nicola, Kylie. Can't
Spinning
get you
around.
out of can't get you out of my head.
Can't get you out of
Wow.
my. Yeah, funny story about Kylie Minogue. She had a lot of number 1 hit. She had a number 1 hit in every decade, right? Which Madonna didn't even do. She had a lot of number 1 hits, but when she did Spinning Around, remember the shorts? Everyone remembers the shorts, right? It went number 1 in the US,
That's right. That's what made her.
and she said that alone outsold my entire back catalogue,
Just population.
going number 1 in the US.
Just population.
Yeah.
And to round it off, probably a song or a band we would hear. The band's called Alien Ant Farm,
Yes.
and they did a
It was
cover
a remake. It was a
Michael
cover.
Jackson,
Yeah.
Smooth Criminal.
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think last week
It was a big grungier. Yeah.
Last week we had you picking the song of the week. You
No,
picked the
you
Rocky
pick-
one.
You picked it.
Then you picked the Rocky one. I asked you which Rocky one you wanted.
Oh, sorry. You asked me which. Yeah. No Easy Way Out.
No Easy Way Out.
Yeah.
So this week we'll ask out of those 4 songs.
Out of those 4.
which one would you? Which one
boy.
would you like to hear? Well, you want to recap?
No, I think he already knows the answer.
I think he knows too.
No idea, man.
Okay,
Oh,
right,
well,
give him a recap.
No, we'll do the Smooth Criminal.
Smooth Criminal.
Smooth Criminal.
Good choice.
The grungier version.
Good
The
choice.
grungier
Good
version,
choice. Good
yeah.
choice. Good choice.
I like
What-
Michael
what-
Jackson's
what-
music.
What were we watching?
Yeah.
2001.
And
Sons and Daughters.
we were watching,
Sons and Daughters.
and Artie, we were watching a lot of these. I'd say.
Seinfeld.
No, movies, I meant.
Oh, movies.
Movies. We'll probably watch
The movies
we'll
that
watch
made
them.
us. 2001, was that Planet of the Apes with Mark Wahlberg?
It was, but I haven't got this
Wow.
on the top 4 of the biggest.
Hit me
Oh,
up.
hit me up with this. This will be
Biggest selling.
good.
Okay, number 2 was Monsters Inc. It's one of Artie's
Yeah,
favourite.
not one of mine. Yeah.
One of my favourites for sure, Shrek.
Yes.
I'm really not into kids' movies.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a great.
Well,
that
maybe
was the whole Pixar era.
maybe number 4 you'd like Ocean's 11.
Loved it. You know, funny thing about that movie, in almost every scene, Brad Pitt's eating something.
Yes, absolutely. We had one of Nico's favourite movies, Jurassic Park 3.
Yes, I am a fan of the Jurassic Parks.
And the big one of the year was
Titanic.
no,
No, that was a year before, wasn't it?
was it? Okay.
Yeah, I remember
Well,
because the girl I was with at the time got angry because I fell asleep in the cinema.
I would.
And when she woke me up, I said, "What's the big deal? We all know what happens. The ship sinks, they all die."
Hey, he's right. Just Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
There you go.
Harry Pothead and
that
the
was-
Philosopher's Stone.
That was the big one, and Nicola.
They don't seem like that long ago.
I know, hey.
Yeah.
I actually Shrek. I reckon I've watched more than any other movie,
Yeah, me too.
especially with the
Loved
kids there. Yeah,
Yeah.
all of them. That's me, Nicola, for tidbits this week, and I'll hand it back to you.
That wraps us up. That wraps us up for the week, boys.
And it's good to be back, eh?
It's good to be back.
It is good to be back.
And we still haven't finished the first round.
No,
Wait, we haven't started it technically. We only had round 0.
Exactly. Round
We're
zero.
looking forward to Thursday night. It's going to be a good weekend of footy. It always is. Incidentally, while we're talking, I just got a text message from our good mate Buzz asking if you're going to actually be at the game on Saturday. So
Yes,
I'm
I
going to
am.
respond and say, yes, you are.
yes, I am. Oh, he wants a ticket.
No, because he's getting a couple of extra tickets for a couple of extra friends who are coming with us.
Yeah, yes, I am.
But yeah, no, of course you'll be there.
I'm going to try to go as much, and I know I say that, but I worked last
Yeah.
weekend, but I'm trying hard. I told Artie, I'm trying really hard not to. No, I didn't work last week. What was I saying? No, I didn't. No, last week when I'd done it tough. But anyway, I'm going to try as hard as I can to go to a lot of games.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I try.
Yeah.
It's
But,
hard sometimes.
but yeah, look,
Thursdays I can't.
that's a wrap. So keep your eyes out on Spotify for everything that comes out. Listeners, keep your eyes out for our Instagram polls. We'd love to get your feedback. You get the yes or no polls in the Instagram stories. You'll see them popping up. And remember, if you want to flick us any questions or feedback, quickhandsrugbyleague@gmail.com, gentlemen.
And on top of that, I'd like to thank the listeners who've stuck with us for this season. It looks like they're slowly coming back, Nicola. What I've seen, what the boy Wonder told me, and of course the socials, as Artie pointed out before. I don't know what the boy Wonder has done. I don't know what you two have done, but we should do more of those because they're going. It's just going
Oh,
crazy.
the shorts, yeah.
The shorts of the
They're popping
socials
up
are
every
going
now and then,
crazy,
yeah.
and he hasn't even done TikToks yet. He's just done Instagram. So
Oh, the fun's just beginning.
yeah, the
That's
fun's just beginning, and the big part of the year, the middle part of the year, which really picks up. We're nowhere near there, and look, I don't know if you guys have heard it off the bench. I did something with a friend of the pod with Troy, and even that show's numbers went crazy. That went better than the main pod, which I don't know why. Maybe the Troy factor in that. Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
And the boy Wonder is putting together an outside broadcast for the Easter Monday game. Him and his partner, in work, that is. So they're working behind the scenes, trying to get guests to come on as well. So hopefully he'll reveal what he's got. He doesn't even tell me. So there you go.
And also, possibly through this same platform, we might even do a couple of diverse things throughout the season. We might have some other guests on, do a little something on music, maybe a little something on old school wrestling.
Old school
mix
wrestling.
things up a little bit.
Well, if we lay it all out, Easter's coming, and Nico's brother, my brother-in-law, he's a bit of a musician who's actually got records out there, and I'm going to ask him for his 4 favourite songs and how he came around to write them. We'll get him in the lab here.
Yeah.
And while we're doing that, we might as well get the G-Man in here as well.
Yeah, that'll be
and
good.
grill him. I'll probably hit him up. But definitely Lino, we'll get him in here and we'll ask him for his 4 favourite songs and how they came about.
We also spoke about doing a Tigers night, considering it's their 25th
Is it
anniversary. The West Tigers, their 25th anniversary.
Okay.
So I remember we were talking to old mate Aussie. That's not a racial slur, by the way. That's his nickname.
That's his name, yeah.
That'd be St George too. Then didn't they merge at the same time?
Yeah. Is it their 25th anniversary?
It must be. Yeah.
Because the Tigers have got 25 on their emblem this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they both merged at the same time.
Yeah.
Has St George got 25?
I haven't seen. No, I haven't.
Let's see first round now.
Yeah.
Maybe
We might put something together for St George thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got West Tigers.
The technical things, unfortunately, we've got to do because Boy Wonder doesn't even know that St George have been around for 25 years.
And maybe it'd be a good idea to get the G-Man and Aussie in here for the
That's a good
Tigers
idea.
one.
Yeah.
And
That's
we
a good
can
idea.
do one on the Dragons and the Steelers.
Yeah,
And if we're putting everything out, I do know that the Boy Wonder has got about 3 guests for you, Nicola, over the line
For interviews?
One
Yep.
commentator who works in England as a commentator on television. I don't know how he got that, and a few other ex-players. He's pretty much got them over the line.
Yeah, look
So
forward to it.
he'll be coming and talking to you for times, and he's obviously going to do it over StreamYard or Zoom. So
Yeah.
he just wants to sort out some audio issues, and that's why we didn't post the last one we
Okay,
did
yeah.
together. We had some audio issues, so he didn't want to post it, and I don't blame him. It was pretty fuzzy.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was the app. I don't know. Maybe our mics. He's trying to work that out.
Yeah, so essentially the Quick Hands Rugby League podcast is our marquee show, and it comes out off the production line every week without fail. But we will throw in a couple of extra things just to mix things up and have some fun. We have a studio here. George has just named it the Lab. I think it's Sticks.
The lab now.
And,
that's it.
we've got the Lab. Let's use it.
Yeah,
you know?
that's what we're intending to do.
But
Sounds good.
anyway, enjoy the footy this weekend, and we'll see you all next week.
Enjoy rugby
Good
league.
night.
Happy rugby league, everybody.
Happy rugby league.
Bye.
Bye.